Hello and welcome to Is This England, a show where we talk about old England games and ask just how England was this.
World Cup nostalgia is kicking in, so we're going back to one of our favourite World Cups for an enormous game. David Beckham is back and ready to lead England in South Korea and Japan. Their opponents, Argentina. Hold on to your teacups.
Time can do. Baby, you mean everything to me.
We're back, baby.
We're here.
Little enforced break, little pre. I think the listeners were perhaps scared that we were going to be ruled out of the World Cup, but we're back.
Late fitness. We're here. We've got all of you to put your hands on the socials, and we're here.
Thank you all for your patience. Good to be back. And we're looking at an all-time iconic. I know it's a word that is overused, and we've probably overused it as well, but everything about today's game is just massive. And with the World Cup just around the corner, how are you feeling?
It still doesn't feel real yet.
No.
The more players you see just dropping, like flies, you're like, oh, okay. It's like, I forgot they were even in it, really. I saw that Mane's not playing in it today. And
Reece James has been officially ruled out.
Yeah, he did a notes. It was, one of those people that put like a notes apology up, but it was just like a notes ruling himself out of a World Cup.
Yeah. He was a little bit like, I was happy to take the risk, but no, decision was made for me, sort of thing. But I can understand he'd be pissed off. But yeah, it doesn't feel like World Cup time. And
it's because there's still fucking games going on, like regular human, like Premier League games and stuff.
Yeah, like by the time Saturday comes around, this episode's out, that'll be the third lot of fixtures in 7 days. And the World Cup starting about 9 days after that.
Yeah, it's just terrible, isn't it, with that? But I think because I follow England Goals on Twitter. I think it's just an account that like sends out England goals, funny enough, like X amount of years ago, and it was just a random qualifying game the other day, and I was like, oh, it's not a World Cup game, is it? Like, 'cause I just think it should be now, really. But there's just no buzz about it. I know they've had like a couple of documentaries have come out recently. There was an Italian 91. As always, why don't they talk about that tournament more? I wonder. But there's not been all that content's not come out again, has it? I think Sky are doing I think that's Italian 90 as well. Thinking about it, they're doing one themselves too.
Yeah.
Along with Channel 4 have done theirs, and it's like the World Cup that changed the world.
Jamie Redknapp's doing
bugger that.
A sticker book. A human sticker book.
He's 50.
Is he?
I'm pretty sure he's over 50 and he's doing a human sticker book.
He looks more like his dad every time I see him.
Well, yeah. Isn't it with Jack Whitehall?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I think
I haven't seen it, but are they really expecting that we believe that this is just happening? He's gone, I need to get Rude Hullet for my sticker book, so I'm going to go to the area where he lives, and I hope, or that I've heard that he lives, and I hope that I might bump into him.
Yeah.
Or do they think we know that they've just called up his agent and gone, can we have an hour of his time on this location on this date, and we'll pay you lots of money for it.
I like that, just like bumping into them in the wild. Yeah. Definitely just not like, he lived in London for a long time.
He's chasing them straight. Rude, it's me, it's Jamie. Rude, it's Jamie. Rude.
That's not Jack Whitehall, is it?
Oh, fuck's sake, I'm running. We'll do a proper World Cup preview next week. We've also got our live show coming up on the 19th of November.
Oh, yeah.
Big intake of breath from Nick there.
My eyebrows went very high then.
Tickets are pretty much sold out for that one, but it is on Eventbrite and on our socials as a link for the tickets. If you want to get the last couple, while you're on there, please give us a follow and like all the videos and shit that we'll be putting out. And we still haven't really got a plan for the World Cup, have we?
No, we haven't. That's the big thing now, isn't it? Of I don't want to be horrendously hungover when we try and record something. So it's like, what are we going to do? I mean, we're going to try and get previews or something out as we go along. But
we've got the live show to think about first.
Yeah,
and then we've got a day to think about it. And yeah, if you're a podcaster and you listen to podcasts, then you must listen to them on a platform that allows you to rank them by stars.
Yes.
Give us 5 of them
Yes. All 5, please.
as England look towards getting their second World Cup star.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's see how that one goes. I still don't think there's really going to be many standout teams yet.
It might be a black star, considering the negativity surrounding their tournament. The time capsule will be back next week. I've got something that links tenuously to the time capsule, but it's going to put you through your paces, son. Because it's a quiz.
Here we go.
It's a big old dirty quiz. Right, so it's called Who's a Better Briton?
Okay.
100 Greatest Britons was a television series that was broadcast by the BBC in 2002. It was based on a television poll conducted to determine who the British people at that time considered the greatest Britons in history.
Oh, dear.
The series included individual programmes featuring the top 10, with viewers having further opportunity to vote after each programme. It concluded with a debate and a final listing of the top 10. Although many living people were included amongst the top 100, all of the top 10 were deceased. So, Nick, I have a little quiz for you. It's nothing to do with them being deceased,
okay.
by the way. I just copied that wholesale from Wikipedia. Yeah. I'm going to give you 5 pairs of Britons, and I want you to tell me 2 things. Who you rank as a better Briton.
Okay.
You're not going to be pointed on that. That's just for banter's sake.
Okay.
And who the British public ranked as a better Briton, and you will be marked on this in the from the top 100 Britons list.
So I'm being blamed for the British public.
No, you've got
their
your
choices.
You've got the chance to make your own choice, and then you'll tell me who.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't get any points for your own choice.
But they've made that. They've made that choice. I've got to guess what the people think.
They made their choice 20 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So for example, the likes of KSI wouldn't have really been in it.
Couldn't tell you if he was British. If honest, I know so little about him.
Right. We're all familiar with the platform then.
Yes.
Okay. Number 1. Who's the better Briton? Internet pioneer and World Wide Web inventor Sir Tim Berners-Lee or Bono?
Is Bono British?
I thought exactly the same thing as you, but let me tell you who is in this list.
Oh, the Brits are at it again, aren't they? Claiming the Irish people. I'm going to. Who do I think is the better Briton? I think Bono's a bit of a dickhead, but I like you too.
This is yours.
Yeah, this is mine. Okay, I like you too, but I do think he's quite insufferable at times. Or the man who invented the internet. The man who invented the internet has to be better. However, I think that people will know Bono more, so I think Bono is going to be higher.
Bono is higher.
Yes.
Bono is the 86th best Briton of all time, and Sir Tim Berners-Lee is number 99. Bono is from Dublin. How did he slip through the net? And of all people, Bono as well.
Like, was this just like a mass poll, I wonder? And people were like, well, just put your people in and we'll see what happens. And or was it a list of like, well, we've just come up with a list. Where do you want to rank these people?
I think that was it. I think the BBC put together 100 people, and then
so they're the ones that are at it, basically.
I think so. And the public are going, well, if I have to, then he's the 86th best, but I'd rather him not be in there.
I mean, he's better than a man who is British who invented the internet. So okay then.
Yeah, that's a point for you there, and I'll give you the moral point because I would have Berners-Lee. Did you say No. Berners-Lee would be yours, wouldn't it?
Yes.
You can have a moral point. I don't know if I'll continue the moral
point. It's 1-1 on the moral points.
Okay. Former, or perhaps even at the time, Prime Minister Tony Blair, or current, or Culture Club singer and current I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here contestant, Boy George.
I think Blair would have been in at that point.
2002. Yes. I think so.
I think he would have been in. Brown wasn't in by then. Or Boy George.
Yeah, who's yours? A pig's just entered the room.
I mean, Blair's awful. And I don't really like Boy George either.
Okay.
Can I just take a 0 on that?
Yeah, you're welcome to. I mean, it's against every moral code that there is to do with choice making. But yeah, if you want.
Well, let's not talk about that with Tony Blair's about as well. I'm going to say that Britain
Yeah.
would have picked Tony Blair.
Incorrect.
Okay.
Britain actually decided that Boy George was the 46th best Briton of all time. Tony Blair was the 67th.
Fucking hell, do they run out of Britons?
I know. It's weird, isn't it? Some of them. Tony Blair.
What about all the cast of Little Britain? Were they not all in it as well?
I haven't chosen this person, but Margaret Thatcher's in there. And she's very high up.
Wow.
I think she's like 15 or something like that.
Fuck me.
I know. Two Knights of the Realm being pitted against each other now. We have a biologist and discoverer of penicillin, Sir Alexander Fleming, up against bassist and discoverer of the Beatles, Sir Paul McCartney.
Discoverer. So I like Macca quite a lot.
Yeah.
I saw him at Glastonbury. He was great. He told a very long and boring story about Eric Clapton not getting up and tuning his guitar for him. And then it just stopped, and it kind of took everybody out of the gig for about a good 20 minutes.
I love that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I can't say I enjoyed the story, but
No.
it just happened. And you're the man, Fleming.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I like Paul McCartney more,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna say he was very high on the list. I think he was maybe number one.
He's not number one.
Okay.
Are you saying that he's higher than Sir Alexander Fleming?
Yes.
He is.
Yes. Okay. Good. Good.
Correct. Sir Alexander Fleming was number 20 in the list, and Sir Paul McCartney was number 19.
See, I think this. 20 and 19. Okay, very close.
John Lennon was very high in the list.
I think this was done again a couple of years later, and I think the top two were Morrissey and Paul McCartney. I think
That
they
rings
were
a bell, actually.
I remember them interviewing Morrissey about it, and he was like, "Well, you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
exactly what he was like."
It's all very facile.
Oh, it's all very different now. I don't think he'd be making a list.
Okay. So you're doing well, I think. That's
Yeah.
2 out of 3. And you're kind of with you on the moral choices, really, so far. Naturalist and the originator of the theory of evolution, as well as being the author of On the Origin of Species, Charles Darwin, or England's Rose, Princess Diana. New series of The Crown out today.
Out today, yeah.
Out today.
At the time of recording, I have to get that onto that. All very, very accurate, especially how everybody looks and how handsome they are.
Which one do you prefer?
Who was your first one? Sorry, Darwin.
Charles Darwin.
Darwin or
Diana.
Lady Di. See, I was too young for all the Lady Diana stuff. I just remember it being very big when it happened.
The
when
theory
she
of
passed
evolution
away.
was your era.
Oh, yeah, I was well into that. Definitely. That's impacted me more, definitely. I'll go with Darwin as being a better Briton.
Was that your choice?
That's my choice.
Okay.
I think... See, it would have been very close to her dying. So I think...
I think 4 years. I think 5 years, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was 97, I think. I think she's going to be above Darwin.
She is.
Oh,
You're
what?
bloody good at this. You know the British public like the back of your hand.
Far too well.
Charles Darwin was number 4. Princess Diana was number 3.
3?
Yeah.
Insane.
Yo, you said it, mate.
Insane.
You're gonna have the Diana fan base all over you like a rash.
I don't even know what they call it. What they'd call themselves. I don't know. If it was around today, they'd definitely have a horrible name for them, like the club thing.
Yeah.
It's just disgusting. Right.
Last one. Last pair. Battle of the Davids. Okay. David Beckham.
He's going to be high.
David Bowie. Oh,
Wowzers.
How are you gonna choose?
I thought you were going to say David Brent, like he'd managed to sneak in or something. Yeah.
Yeah, the best one ever is Sherlock Holmes.
So for me, see, David Beckham's very much kind of disgraced himself recently by saying, "Yeah, guitar's fine."
I think that's a really good point.
And I loved Moon Age Daydream when I watched it recently. I think we talked about it.
We've talked about it at length.
Very much.
I had to edit that. I edited loads out of it as well.
I'm gonna say David Bowie
Is
is who's I would have. And I think around the time Bowie was probably going through a bit of a lean period, as we'll talk about today. This is peak Beckham. This is era defining Beckham. So I'm saying Beckham's above him. First one I've got wrong, is that?
second one you got wrong.
Second,
I think anyway. Yeah. David Bowie was number 29. David Beckham was number 33.
But Princess Diana.
But Princess Diana
3 or something stupid.
number 3.
Jesus.
For a bonus point,
Okay.
I think, unless I've already told you, can you guess who number 1 is?
Was it John Lennon?
It wasn't.
Okay, you said he was very
He was
high.
number 8.
Oh, who the hell's going to be?
I'll give you a clue. They're dead.
Oh,
They're
no,
all
that
they're all
narrows it
dead.
down.
They were dead. They were dead.
It's not going to be a woman. It's Britain. Come on.
Any clue? Any guesses?
A dead person.
Yeah. I mean, they're not famous for being dead, but
Famously dead. Wasn't David Attenborough by any chance?
no, he was quite low. He was
I think he'd be
60
a
or
lot
something.
higher now if they did
Yeah,
it.
it was Winston Churchill, Sir Winston Churchill.
All right, okay.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Good quiz.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. It was lovely.
Yeah, you did well. That came out in 2002, so that'll do for a time capsule for the year.
Yeah.
We're on to why this game, the feature that everyone loves, the really short feature that everyone... Why this game? Yeah, do you wanna take the lead as to why we chose England versus Argentina from the World Cup 2002?
It was kind of the world. This was the tournament that made me properly start watching football. I'd always had a passing interest in it for years, and then kind of near the end of 2001, 2002 season in football, I started watching it a bit more and following it, and have the idea of maybe I could go to a game and stuff like that. I think I went to school. I went to a game with school actually in this Premier League season. I think I went to Derby v Sunderland or something like that. And then this is why I was like, you know what, I'm going to watch this World Cup. It's going to be great. It was great.
I may have spoken about this before, but I went to a game with school. It was like England under like 18s or under 17s. It was at the Warsaw Stadium, and it was against Spain. And I was like, we've got Joe. So this Joe Cole was like on the bench.
Would have been this era then.
Yeah. I was like, I think Spain won 4-1, and I've never been able to look back and find the team sheet, and I wonder whether it was like a really good, like, or maybe whether I saw any players who got loads of caps for Spain or what have you.
There must be a team sheet out there somewhere. Maybe that's our little task
Yeah.
to find that in the future. What game did you go to?
So yeah, this is the World Cup that made you fall in love with football, and that's why it's the pick.
Yeah, kind of, and it's the most memorable game from this tournament, probably. Apart from the final one, I'd say, yeah, it's this.
Yeah, that's a good shout. That's a good shout. Couldn't agree more, really. Definitely, just so many great memories being attached to this tournament for me, and the ball is iconic as well.
Yeah. It was kind of like a goldy ball with like a fire Adidas thing in the middle, wasn't it? Like a triangle Adidas fire. That was amazing.
And any kind of embellishment on the ball that kind of swerves in its own way.
Yeah.
I like, and it kind of did it a circle within a circle.
I think we talked about it on the previous one we've done of this World Cup when there was the Nike advert as well, little less conversation. And it was just the one as well where the advert was Louis van Gaal, and he was like sending a team to go and steal a football. And he was like, it's rounder.
Oh man, I would not like to have been the director of that advert.
Van Gaal just losing his mind.
Mr. Hall, can we do another take, please?
And I know you've not gone to the World Cup and you're furious for being here, but come on.
Yeah. Instead of the state of football, because we've done that in the past, as you say, we've already been to the year 2002. Not much has changed, but Arsenal won the double.
Yes.
And so we're going to look at the World Cup itself. And it's a really, really memorable one. So we're going to pretty much cover the tournament as a whole. Really, we're not going the tournament up to this game, but we're going to do it quite briefly.
Yeah, just some general thoughts of the standout moments, really, for us.
Yeah, in at number 1 on the list of iconic World Cup 2002 moments.
Iconic British World Cup moments.
Famous Britain, Roy Keane, left the Ireland squad twice before the tournament had even started.
That's such Keane, isn't it?
Shove it up your bollocks, you English.
So-and-so, whatever.
So-and-so.
I mean, we've said bollocks, it's fine, whatever he said.
I think he said the C word.
Probably.
So I'm just going to swerve that.
Yeah.
World famous moment, really, and one that's still talked about to this day. I think Keane's kind of said everything he's ever going to say about it in his books.
Yeah, because he wrote his book, and his book came out just after this as well, actually. So I think he would have included this about it. And I remember the season following this tournament, he and Jason McAteer had a massive bust-up during a United Sunderland game.
Yeah.
And they've been winding each other up, and Keane just like walked past him and just elbowed him in the head and got sent off for it. And McAteer, as he was walking off, just kind of did the writing sign of like, oh yeah, put that in your next book.
That is good.
I mean, that is good for historically. You know, everyone knows him being a thick man. But no, it was the biggest thing. In you know, there's still today of people in on that talk about this of like, well, who was in the right because. Keane was seen. He had an injury going into the tournament. He went and finally went to the training, and then it was said that actually, when he turned up, there weren't any goals on the island that they were supposed to be training on. So many issues within the camp. He left. He was talked into coming back, and then it was said that the manager Mick McCarthy had said that Keane was injured, and that's why he didn't want to play for Ireland, basically, and said that he wouldn't do that, and it all just kind of exploded in like a meeting where like Niall Quinn tried to stick up for Mick McCarthy, and then Keane just started on him as well, and anybody else who would listen, and it's this massive dressing down of Keane in front of the squad, and he was like, well, shove it up your bollocks.
The Saipan incident.
Saipan,
Sorry, it's got its own Wikipedia page.
Oh, there you go.
Apparently, so I think a lot of it, doesn't it come down to Keane seeing the way the Irish FA approached everything as being unprofessional, basically.
Yeah.
Compared to the standards he was used to at Man United, which he would eventually find to be unprofessional as well.
Unacceptable.
Man, his standards just keep going higher and higher, don't they?
What do you mean I'm knackered and I'm 36 and I've got 0% body fat on me because I've gone insane?
In his autobiography, Keane said that before a World Cup qualifier away versus the Netherlands, the Irish players were eating cheese sandwiches because pasta wasn't available. And that's really irked him.
That's the backup.
That's obviously not the whole reason. I think it's stuff to do with accommodation. Didn't they fly like me and you would fly? Like,
oh yeah, but like I said, they turned up on one of the training islands on Saipan as well, and there were no football pitches, and he was like, well, how are we going to train then? And it was the same thing with like, he always didn't like it because he said we could actually go and win it because they're quite a good team then, Ireland as well.
Yeah.
So he was like, well, if we're not here to win it, what's the point of us being here? So he would always then kick on and say, well, when he's at Man United, it's got to be the highest standards. Why isn't it the same here? Doesn't matter. And it was just saying, it's the Irish. They'll just come and make a good show of it all and that. And it's like clearly the wrong message to be sending out.
Yeah, it says on the Wikipedia page as well that Keane told Alex Ferguson that he was going to the World Cup to win it.
Yeah.
And he was kind of seeing almost the end of United's season as preparation for the World Cup finals.
And he scored in a Champions League semi-final leading up to that as well. That's how kind of determined Keane was. And it was his last big chance of a player in his prime to make an impact at a tournament. Because he played at 94 and done very well. They hadn't qualified in 98. So, this was his last chance. And he just went, no, I'm going to go and walk my dog for the summer and be harassed by lots of newspapers. And half the country hate me.
Yeah, that image of him walking his dog is just...
Triggs.
Yeah, and until he got into the punditry game, that was how you'd think of Roy Keane outside of on a pitch.
Yeah, definitely.
But, I've got the quote here. Mick, you're a liar. You're a fucking wanker. I didn't rate you as a player. I don't rate you as a manager. And I don't rate you as a person.
As a person, so strong.
You're a fucking wanker and you can stick the World Cup up your arse. It actually says stick your World Cup up your arse.
I thought it was sticking up your bollocks.
We get to that.
Right.
The only reason I have any dealings with you is that somehow you are the manager of my country. You can stick it up your bollocks. Mick McCarthy then held a press conference announcing that he had sent Keane home.
I've definitely sent him home.
I like this from Niall Quinn as well, talking about it. Roy Keane, this makes it sound so important. Like Roy Keane's 10-minute oration against Mick McCarthy was clinical, fierce, earth-shattering to the person on the end of it, and it ultimately caused a huge controversy in Irish society. But he was also critical of Keane, saying that he left us in Spain. Saipan, not the other way around, and he punished himself more than any of us by not coming back.
Yeah, you can't disagree with that because you think, well, maybe you should just button up and carry on because you're only going to be here for a couple of weeks. But it's Roy Keane. He's going to set fire to it, isn't he?
Love it, love it, love it. Okay, another huge moment from the World Cup is France's golden generation and reigning World Cup champions. Going out in the first round without winning a game. I mean, how does it feel?
This was amazing.
Is one of the great capitulations I feel like we've had kind of similar levels since, but like, I don't know.
I don't think it's been with the star-studded names that they had and how favourite they were going into the tournament as well.
It's true, because they'd only really got better, and Henry, who was just starting his career in 98, was like incredible.
He was becoming that Premier League all-time great. He'd had a very good season with Arsenal, and then he'd had this second one he followed up. I think he was the top scorer in the league going into it. They got Zidane, obviously, kind of in his peak too. The back four was still together. They hadn't really brought through a lot of the younger blood to carry on, but they'd only won the Euros 2 years previously and actually had performed even better than they'd done at the World Cup when they'd won it. So you think, really, going into it, everyone's in their prime. No problem, really. They were in a group with Denmark, Uruguay, and Senegal.
Can I just shock you here?
Yeah.
The last 4 World Cup winners from Europe have all failed to progress past the group stage in the following World Cup.
Amazing, isn't it?
That is also, it's not a shock to you.
Oh, no, I did know that. Yeah.
Yeah. The Senegal game,
Yes.
one of those great moments that people always say that stuff like this never happens anymore because you had never heard of any of the players.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know, and like now you would kind of know some of the players or what have you, but it was just like, they're a funny bunch, aren't they? And they're playing France. Isn't that a mismatch?
Oh, and it's kind of also because they've got obviously connections to France as well.
Yeah.
And Patrick Vieira was born in Senegal, and he decided not to play for them, and they knocked him out of a tournament.
As Roy Keane would you know.
Oh, yeah, if you love Senegal so much, why don't you play for them?
Exactly,
Again, just
yeah.
perfect.
They out in the group stage. I remember being young and this being shocking. The shock waves went round the school when Senegal won 1-0.
I think I said as well, like we were in art class, I think, and the rumours were going around that actually they were 2-0 up.
Yeah.
I mean, again, classic lying at school. And I remember when we'd play football at break at school, and if someone hit what we would consider the crossbar or the post, people would just shout, France! Because they hit the woodwork so many times in this tournament as well. I think Henry was sent off in the second game, and I think they were just bulldozed by Denmark in the end.
Papa Bouba Diop with the goal in the
Diop.
Senegal game.
The wardrobe, famously.
Yeah. There was the 0-0 with Uruguay as well in there. Thierry Henry got sent off in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Bloody hell. France, what are you playing at?
And I think Zidane, because he wasn't fit for the tournament, but was rushed back basically, going, oh, we'll breeze through the group stage, see how we get on. And then it got to that Denmark game, they were like, we have to play him now. We have no other options.
The co-hosts of the tournament, South Korea, perhaps the biggest surprise package of the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think there's much of an argument for anyone else, even though Senegal did okay.
Yeah. I think there's another one as well. Turkey got to the semi-final, which was massively not expected to. But South Korea, really, they got through a group that had got Portugal and the USA in it.
Yeah.
And like USA, that was their first tournament where you went, okay, they're a serious football team now. I think the USA got to the quarters that year as well.
God, the semi-finals is Germany versus South Korea and Brazil versus Turkey.
And it's a shit Germany team as well,
They
like an
both
awful
finished
team.
1-0 to the favourites in both games. That's close, man. I like how it fell on those sides as well. So it wasn't South Korea and Turkey versus the winner of Germany and Brazil.
Yeah, in the final.
Yeah. I mean, for a bit there, we could have been thinking, what if?
But you also had South Korea going into the knockout games as well. They played Italy, and that is one of the most famous World Cup games ever as well, because I think Italy took the lead and South Korea were just like banging on the door. They got an equaliser in the last minute. I don't know if it was an extra time or not, but I remember Totti being sent off for diving.
Yeah.
There was a goal ruled out for Italy as well. And I think it became known that the referee that day had later done in a different game for match fixing as well.
Oh, bloody hell.
So it was seen as like, right, we've got to keep, South Korean people involved and because Japan had already gone out to Turkey as well, I think. So Turkey was seen as like the bad guys throughout this tournament too.
Do you know who South Korea's manager was at the tournament?
I don't. Oh, it was Hiddink, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the goal scorer was it Hom Myong-bo, I want to say, against Italy. Did you know one of those names that just gets like drilled into your head no matter what?
You got it. You got it wrong, but he was a player.
Yeah.
It was Seol Ki-hyun and
Seol
An
Ki-hyun?
Jung-hwan. They did have Park Ji-sung playing as well.
Because that Seol played for Wolves as well. He was one of the Wolves players. And I think the guy who scored the winner against Italy played in Italy at the time, and his Serie B club sacked him.
Christ. Yeah, that rings a bell as well.
And then they beat Spain in the knockouts in the quarterfinals as well. And Spain had a very dodgy goal disallowed.
Yeah.
I remember he was like down the line, and they said that the ball had gone out of play before Joaquin had crossed it in. I think it was Morientes who scored, and they were like, "Yep, that's gone out," and you just had to believe what people told you back then.
penalties they beat Spain by on as well.
Yes.
5-3. So Spain's rotten luck continues.
For a bit longer.
Yeah, the biggest story of the tournament by far, and one of the best stories in football in my lifetime, probably of all time,
Yeah.
is Ronaldo's redemption. I think it's difficult to look at it like a redemption though when you're young, because I got into football. I feel like the game FIFA 98. And then like watching Man United win that, and Ronaldo was just ever present anyway.
Yeah.
And because you didn't watch Italian football, you're like, he's there at the final of one World Cup, and he's back at the next World Cup. That's the next time you see him.
Yeah. Oh, Ronaldo's still here. That's good to know.
Yeah. And obviously because you're a kid, nothing's changed.
Yeah.
You know, you don't think, oh, he's 4 years older. He may have had some knocks, which obviously he did.
Well, that knee doesn't look very good, does it?
And it's like he's back. They're going to win the tournament. And then obviously, in years to come, you see what everyone else was seeing, which was just an insane sort of second wind. And not many players have them like that, really, especially to crown it off with a World Cup win.
And to come back from a horrendous injury which he had that had kept him out for so long as well, and actually changed entirely how he was as a player.
Exactly.
I know we look at Haaland now and just go, God, we have never seen a striker quite as good as him, and all this rubbish, but you look at the original Ronaldo, the phenomenon, and you kind of go, yeah. I think I watched the other week, it was just, here's a clip of Ronaldo doing crazy things. And it was like he scored a hat-trick, and every single one of them, he was just running at a back four and just breezing past them.
Yeah.
Like all three of them were just like, you're too small for
The
me.
ones where like Bobby Robson is just like holding his head. And he's just like, I don't know how to react. Insane. And but obviously by the time the tournament came round, he was almost a bit of a, was he going to go sort of?
Yeah, he hadn't played at all in qualifying from memory, and it was a big thing of, well, should we take him? I don't even think, because I think I bought my first one of my first football games was one of the FIFA games, and he wasn't in the game. There was a different player as a number 9 for Brazil, and I was like, who's this idiot? Like, I don't know him at all. I know Ronaldo. I like him.
Yeah. I've got a little quote. So obviously, well, we should talk also as well about the final and Ronaldo's redemption becoming complete, but against Oliver Kahn, who had been given, the Germany goalkeeper, Oliver Kahn, who had been given player of the tournament
At half-time.
at half-time in the game, and then basically fumbled the ball into Ronaldo's path for the winning goal to make it 2-0.
I mean, I know people like to get admin done early, but you just wait. You've only got another 45 minutes, at most an hour, really. You've got to wait to give that out.
It's horrible. I don't think I would have accepted it.
Yeah. What if you were Oliver Kahn?
You're like, are you trying to fucking curse me here? Like, I've got 45 minutes to play, but I think they were losing 1-0 or it was 0-0.
It was 0-0 going into that, and he'd made a very good save as well in the first half too. And you just think you're tempting fate there.
You're also taking up time.
Yeah.
I've got 15 minutes.
I haven't got time for this.
I've not got time to do
I'm
it.
resting.
I've got a little quote from Ronaldo regarding that moment when he lifted the trophy. In that moment, I felt complete. I hadn't just won the World Cup, I'd also won a battle with my body that lasted more than 2 years. That was the biggest victory of my career and of my life.
Amazing.
Yeah.
He'd also won a battle with his hair, if you remember as well.
Did he win that battle?
Well, he basically did it so people would stop talking about him if he was going to like just rock up injured again, wasn't
That's hilarious. That is playing 3D chess, as they say.
it? But it's also like the worst haircut like I've ever seen. Like no one's ever copied that haircut. If no one's
only
seen
for
it,
like Halloween or...
but even then, it's just like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Like that's not a real haircut. It was just like he let his hair grow because it wasn't very long anyway. And then it's just the front of it.
like a little triangle.
It's like it's really hard to describe.
Not a
It's
triangle, but
he
you
just
know.
leaves that bit there and he's like, yeah, I'm just going to rock up with this.
Yeah, I think that's genius. I do.
Yeah, to get people to stop talking about it. But then you look at him in all the things and you just go, oh, there's Ronaldo with that mental haircut.
I think because he's Brazilian, he can get away with it.
Oh, yeah, because he was Ronaldo and he went on to win World Player of the Year again and he's just won the World Cup. It's like, yeah, pretty much do what you want. And no one ever had a bad word to say about him. Like even his teammates who didn't like that he was always out partying and all this stuff. And like they finish games and everyone just go around his house for like a party with like 300 people there. Like no one ever had a bad word to say about him.
No, and that kind of completes the World Cup 2002 story on a broader scale, but we're going deep into one of the games of the tournament. Before we get there, let's have a look at the build-up then. So from England's perspective, ahead of this game of huge dramatic proportions against Argentina, we're going to look back to the World Cup qualification campaign. England started their 2002 World Cup qualification campaign coming off the back of a group stage exit from Euro 2000. We spoke about how they've got there in a different pod. We've spoke about the opening game.
Yeah.
But it didn't last much longer than that, did it really?
No.
They had looked set to scrape through to the knockout round, but Phil Neville conceded a last-minute penalty, which Romania scored to send England crashing out. In between the Portugal game, which we've covered, and that crashing out against Romania, there is a standout result. England win against Germany in a bloody tournament.
Major tournament, and that's the last time they do it until 2021.
Yeah,
That's so it
21
takes,
years.
Yeah, it takes that long for them to do it. Which is, I know they don't really play each other too much at major tournaments at the moment, but that was still a big thing, and seen as like, okay, well, this was a disastrous tournament, but we beat Germany, so maybe we can take this into the qualification campaign.
And Shearer's gone now.
Shearer's gone now.
Have to play Shearer for every minute of every game ever.
Yeah, and he was dwindling as that tournament went on, and I think his Newcastle career was much better for not having to go to England all the time and run around and like be concerned with that kind of stuff too. But Germany, as I mentioned, are not in good shape themselves. They're in like the dark days. The fact that they finished bottom of that group is
To a Shearer goal as well.
Shearer goal,
England.
yeah.
And that was it. That was the tournament that reset everything. It would be 14 years later. It would take its time, but they were gradually getting better before they would win the World Cup again. But they decided enough is enough. We can't lose to England at
We
a tournament.
can't come below England in a qualifying group, and they don't even qualify themselves.
Yeah. Right. So the new era. England are looking ahead. They want to qualify for this tournament in Japan and South Korea, but they have to get past a group containing Finland, Greece, Albania, and Germany.
Had to just it comes back. As
It's
I
like
say.
what's happening now with Italy, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes you just can't get away from teams. Like Sweden used to be one for years. Poland have done it quite a few times.
Croatia, we've said it a million times.
Croatia, God,
But
that's the ultimate.
Even after the World Cup, we had them in qualifying and Nations League
Yes, and at that last Euros,
and at the last Euros.
just insane, isn't it? And now it'd be like, oh, we don't play them for 20 years.
Yeah. So the man to lead England into this qualifying campaign is Kevin Keegan.
Keggy's in. Keggy's still in.
He's still in.
Despite what had happened at the tournament, it was felt that Keegan was still the right man to do it, and they received a lot of criticism. Let's just say,
Rightly so.
rightly so at times, but also when we covered the Portugal game, you heard about what happened with David Beckham and the England fans like shouting at him and all this other kind of stuff. So you thought, okay, that's clearly not on. But the team was seen as all right. We've got to try and do something. Well, I can't say
Those two losses as well could have been really different.
Yeah, the Portugal one, they start really well, but they play badly. The Romania game I've not watched, but it's kind of end to end, and they nearly get through, and they beat Germany. So really, they probably would have got battered in the next round, but there's no real way of knowing. But when we kind of join England here now, their first qualifying game is against Germany, and it's the last game to ever be played at the old Wembley.
Yeah.
I mean, what makes you start a qualifying campaign and go, well, the first one of it was knocking a stadium down.
Yeah. Like do it before.
Yeah, just before or after, because they play all the other games around the country, which is a period of England I think is really good because it actually takes them to the people.
Yeah, we've spoken about that before as well, and that's all fine. But yeah, it's weird. It's probably just that Germany are going to play at Wembley.
Yeah,
We beat them there for the World Cup.
This is fair. Like, this is a nice way to end it almost.
Yeah, but also you are putting yourself at very high risk of losing.
Yes.
and they did lose.
That's exactly what they do.
1-0 in the pouring rain to Germany, who immediately made up for that defeat in Euro 2000. And yeah, they can always say we were the last team to win at the old Wembley.
They absolutely can, yeah. And it was only England's second ever World Cup qualification defeat at Wembley. We covered the other one in the Italy game.
Fuck, have we seen so much rubbish? And that's a stat. Where's all the good games?
I know, yeah. Well, we'll get there one day, maybe. But that also is a wave goodbye to Wembley and also a wave goodbye to Kevin Keegan.
No,
So Keggy's gone.
he was the man to lead us. One game.
One game's all he had left in him.
Man, these FA monsters are quick with their decisions, aren't they?
Well, he resigned immediately after the game
I know he
in the
did.
Wembley toilet.
I know he did. Yeah, set you up for that one there.
Oh, yeah.
One of the strangest, and it still gets a reference today, doesn't it? I
Yeah.
think like no manager has ever really done that, but people
Not
see
on
it.
this kind of scale.
People
as
see it
like-
as an option when a manager's doing bad.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he should just resign. Like, they're never going to do that.
Yeah,
Why
go
did
go
he?
now. You need to go now.
Like, why did he do it?
I
I
think
mean,
it-
his reasoning wasn't it that like he just didn't feel like he was good enough.
Yeah, pretty much. He tells the players he wants to go, and then he goes to tell the FA, and the resignation is immediate, basically. So as they're interviewing him after the game, he's already gone. So yeah, it's
At least he didn't do
incredibly
the Roy
rare.
Hodgson thing.
Well, I can't remember what happened with Hodgson. Didn't
Oh,
he just
mate,
kind of resign and then he gave the full press conference?
Giving a full press conference is a stretch. Remember, he resigned basically straight away after the game, and then the post-match interviews are like, "So Roy, what went wrong with England tonight?" And he was like, "Well, I'm not the England manager, so I don't know what you're asking me for." And it's like, well, you was about fucking 10 minutes ago.
I know, yeah.
There's nobody else who's the England manager. It's you. And literally, you're just like, I don't know why you're asking me these questions. I'm not the England manager.
Well, you have to ask the FA this, not me.
Exactly. I'm just a fan.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
at least I used to be.
yeah. Well, it's rare you actually get the chance to interview an England manager who's just resigned. So let's hear what Keggy had to say.
Kevin, you've been in a meeting for a long time after that match with some high-ranking FA officials. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, what I've done, I've first of all told the players that, you know, this is my last game. I'm very disappointed with the result, obviously, not for myself, for the players, because particularly second half they worked very, very hard, for all my staff, and particularly for the FA, and that's why I've been there a long time. You know, all of them, from my chairman right down through Adam Crozier and David Davis, they've been wonderfully supportive of me. I probably have had a longer run than I could have expected. I mean, after Euro 2000, a lot of managers coaches who did a lot better than me fell by the wayside, and their support's been wonderful and makes that very, very difficult for me. But nevertheless, as I told the players, I just don't feel I can quite find that little bit of extra that I think you need at this level to find a winning formula. And, you know, I couldn't have asked for more effort from the players. And I think, you know, I've kept them together. I think they enjoy playing for England. Obviously, they enjoy winning more, and that's what we've not been able to do today. And so I just want to go and spend some time with my family. You know, obviously, I in this job in particular, you do spend a lot of time away from them. And I just feel I've given it my best shot. And I don't want to go on and outstay my welcome. I think the fans today, when we're coming off, you know, they sort of made me realise that not only did they put me in the job, but with what they were saying when I was coming off, I think they feel it's time for me to go. And that's where the power should be. And I mean, as I say, the FA have been great, and we've been in there for 20 minutes now. More support no manager could have had, but I've not been quite good enough, and I have to accept that.
Whose decision has it been?
Much more amicable than Roy.
I think so, and I feel a lot more sorry for him than I did for Hodgson back then, because it was just it's time Hodgson went. That's understandable.
The rain as well.
They are soaked after this game as well. They are absolutely drowned. But the way Keegan's talking there, it's like a weird mixture of like Alistair Green and Brian Clough. I can't. When you see it as well, it is really interesting. But yeah, he just looks really down, and but he kind of also looks relieved that the pressure's off him now as well.
Yeah.
Because I think he put so much into the England team as well, and I think he said there the fans put him into the position, and the fans of tonight have put him out of the position as well. He said that he just didn't feel like he was good enough up to that level as well, which is a really understanding thing to say. Like,
Yeah,
you never go and manage to go, well, I'm just not good enough, so I've gone.
The fans, he kind of made the decision to leave. The fans didn't make that decision for him. They would have wanted him to go, perhaps, but he could have stuck it out.
I don't know. I think maybe it turned so bad when he was leaving Wembley. You imagine, in Mike Bassett, where he's getting the abuse, and even the bloke in the wheelchair is like shouting at him and saying he's got to go. I think that's basically based on what happened to Keegan here, really.
It makes me look back at the Hodgson thing, not to dwell on him too much, but God, he had it easy, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. I think, well, we've said before as well, I was like, he should have gone after the Euros in 2016. The World Cup in 2014. And you were like, yeah, but there's no one to replace him with. So I went, yeah, fine. Okay, then. But the more you think about it, you just go, yeah, he probably should have really.
And Keegan would leave straight after that game, of course, but that's also during the middle of an international break.
It's an international break. There's another game in 4 days, and like we just don't have a plan, basically.
Who's the man with the plan?
So it was left to former Leeds and Sheffield Wednesday manager Howard Wilkinson to take charge of the game, as he was the acting technical director of the FA.
Well, yeah. Congratulations, Howard Wilkinson.
Enter Howard Wilkinson. 4 days after the defeat at Wembley, England play out a 0-0 draw in Finland, and the team that day really is something. I'm just going to run through the lineup here. It is Seaman, Phil Neville, Gareth Southgate, Martin Keown, Gareth Barry, Ray Parlour, Dennis Wise, Paul Scholes, Emil Heskey, Teddy Sheringham, Andy Cole.
Yeah.
That is an insane fever dream England lineup. I feel like I'm going to turn up in that in my pants or something.
Emil Heskey and Gareth Barry just controlling that left side.
The left, I mean, Dennis Wise, this feels way too late for Dennis Wise.
No Michael Owen.
No Michael Owen. Obviously, we said Shearer's gone.
No Beckham.
No Beckham. I mean, yeah, exactly. I think Beckham was so distraught when Keegan went. I think he was pretty much crying when he was giving his resignation. So I don't think he's missing due to tears, but
Yeah.
there must have been something to it.
Submerged in tears. That's a wild one. That's a wild team.
Yeah. After 2 qualifying games, England have 1 point, 5 points behind Germany. No manager. I won't have another qualifying game for 5 months. Oh, and Howard Wilkinson's not going to stay on as caretaker manager, as he's already done that once. This was under when Hoddle was sacked, and they were trying to lure Keegan into the role while he was still being the Fulham manager. So he was like, not interested in any of this anymore. I'm leaving too.
Still holding on to that.
I know, yeah. So
can I just? I know that we're kind of pushing through here. I think that is something that has to stop. Is the not like the interim managers. Whatever happens with Gareth Southgate, we can't have somebody just there for one match and then like it needs to be planned.
yeah,
Like, how did we end up with Stuart Pearce before? Because it wasn't planned. How did we end up with Howard Wilkinson? Because there was no foresight or anything like that.
true. But I guess you have when McLaren came in, for example, after Sven, that was planned. That was a disaster. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
But I guess the Capello one, he just blew everything up and left. Keegan's kind of done it not under their noses, but like they didn't no idea Keegan was going.
Yeah, to be fair.
But
They've gone,
this-
so you're the man to take us through the tournament. And one game in, he's like, no, I'm not actually. He's like, well, we've started now.
We've started now. You're playing Tony Adams. We didn't want to play Tony Adams. He's about
We've got a game
90.
in 4 days. We can't tell him to go home.
So, not only are England looking for a new manager, they're also looking for a new temporary manager at this time too.
And a new caretaker. What was Howard Wilkinson's role? Chief of the FA or something like
So I
that?
think he was still king of the FA, but he just didn't want to do the manager's job anymore.
Can't blame him for that. He's like, the point of this job is that it's cushy and I don't have to do anything and I get paid loads and nobody knows who I am. I don't want to be England manager.
I don't want people to shout at me. I've already done that once. I didn't like it.
Okay. So where are we looking then? Are we looking at Wolves? Are we looking at kind of Sheffields? Are we looking at Aston Villas? We're going to pick their managers and kind of be like, yeah, the next big English thing.
So, enter Peter Taylor.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that, really.
So, Peter Taylor, for people who don't know, had been mainly a lower league manager until Glen Hoddle was appointed him as the England under-21s manager in 1996, until Taylor was replaced by Howard Wilkinson.
Fucking guys handed so many pies.
Are there only 6 English managers in the known universe at this point?
6 English people. David Seaman, David Beckham, Peter Taylor, Howard Wilkinson, Kevin Keegan, and bloody Roy Hodgson there in Sweden.
I think Peter Taylor must have been 122 on that Greatest Britain's list, I reckon. He'd have been there somewhere. So, Taylor, after he left the under-21s job, became Gillingham manager, guiding them to promotion, and was then appointed the Leicester City manager, following Martin O'Neill leaving the Foxes for Celtic. When the FA asked Taylor to step in for one game and one game only, Taylor's Leicester were top of the Premiership at this point, so he was kind of seen as a newer manager.
And you'd obviously say no. That's an insulting offer to ask me to. I'm literally, my team is top of the Premiership, and you want me to come in and manage England for one game while you look at somebody else. Hello, Could you not just ask me?
Can you imagine in that conversation when they went, hello, it's the FA, he'd have been like, yes, it's finally Sandra, get the champagne out, come on.
How can I help you?
Yep.
Peter Taylor residence, Mr. Taylor speaking.
Peter Anthony Taylor on the phone.
I thought you'd bloody ask. Go on, let's have it. Let's hear it. Let's hear what your offer is. I might say no. I'm only pulling your leg.
One game. He was asked to be in charge
So insulting.
I know. Yeah.
Imagine if they did it with Graham Potter now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Just like what the hell?
You know what the worst bit was? He wasn't even the first choice.
He wasn't the first choice for the one game.
No, he wasn't the first choice for the one game. Bobby Robson was first choice for the one game, but Newcastle refused to let him speak to the FA.
And didn't the FA make him get another job?
Yeah, they basically went, you either win the World Cup or you're going to be sacked. And he went, well, I'll go and try and find another job. And they go, splitter. You.
Can I resign? You can't resign. No, you can't bloody resign. Stupid question.
We can let your contract go, but we're just saying that we've let your contract go. Let's just say that because you've got another job at a better place.
Fucking FA.
I actually think they were like a step away from asking Mike Bassett at this point.
Yeah, that film would have already been out, wouldn't it?
No, I don't think it was because it was kind of like the end of the Keegan era and Graham Taylor it's talked about. So I think it's come in like it's for this World Cup. I think it came out.
And Taylor actually did take the
role.
The one game role.
He took the one game role in the November of 2000. England lost 1-0 in Italy to a Girano Gattuso goal.
Italy?
In Italy, yeah. A weird friendly they'd made.
Friendly?
Oh, who knew, eh?
Why would he do for a friendly as well?
I don't know.
I'm not saying to give me an answer.
No, it's just really strange, isn't it? They got it lined up, but I guess he's kind of going to go, well, I'm going to have that on my mantle one day. Maybe I want to get back there. Maybe this is like goodwill with the FA. Yeah,
he would have thought if we win, then it's better. But like if you win a friendly, still a friendly.
It's still a friendly and it's kind of pointless. But one thing he did do is that he made David Beckham the England captain for the first time.
Sweet move. Sweet move, dude.
Mate, you would get in all of those publicity photos, wouldn't you? Just like, this guy's on the up.
Yeah.
I can tag along with this guy and I can come back in a few years and we can win the World Cup together.
Stuart Pearce, all these years later going, I'm the man who's going to bring Mika Richards back into the fold.
You're the guy who gave him the debut. You're off. You can go back sleeping in your car.
Right. I don't know. I imagine that the FA at this point would think we want Fergie.
I think they tried to talk to Ferguson, but Man United stopped them doing so. Yeah, they did. There was a couple of times. I think around when Keegan was appointed as well, they were thinking about talking to him. I think Wenger was in similar conversations because his team had just won the double.
Oh, they tried for Wenger and Ferguson.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, you at least strive high.
Yeah.
Even though you're going to be told to sod off.
Yeah, it's that Tim Lovejoy thing from the World Cup 2010, isn't it? Who if you had to pick 3 players to shine at this tournament, who would it be? I'd have to say Messi, Ronaldo, and Rooney.
Yeah.
So they've just gone, yeah, we'll have Fergie. No, we'll have Wenger then. Right, who's third in the Premiership? Taylor. We don't want Taylor. It's complicated.
We don't need Taylor.
I can't think of any other English managers. The head always goes to John Gregory around this time, but I have no idea what he was doing.
Yeah, Gregory was in the conversation, in fairness, when they were drawing up the shortlist. But as the FA continued to search for Keegan's full-time replacement, they finally ended it and they bagged Mr. Sven-Göran Eriksson.
Where's he from?
Sweden.
Swindon? It's from Swindon?
Afraid not. Yes, Sweden, I'm afraid. A famous Swede.
Wow. And the world was never the same again.
It wasn't really. This was England's first ever foreign, as they say, manager. Eriksson was appointed on the 31st of October 2000, but would only do so on a part-time basis until becoming the full manager in the July 2001 because he wanted to finish his season with Lazio.
The FA are just like, yeah, part-time. No, it's definitely
not him as well.
Yeah. Why doesn't anybody want it full-time?
It's almost like this is the hardest job in the world, isn't it?
So he's at Lazio, and he just wanted to see the season out there. I'd obviously never heard of Sven because I was 11 years old and didn't really care about Italian football.
No.
I remember seeing I can't remember what it said on it, but I just remember seeing the newspaper, like, I should know what they're called.
Oh, because that's a sport or something?
No, like the Sun. Like they have outside the shops, and it's like a board with the headline on. Yeah. I think I was just on my bike tootling around, and I saw like England appoint foreigner, and I thought They've bloody done it.
Finally,
You've blew it up.
bloody wokies.
Well, yeah, the liberal left have appointed Sven. Okay, so probably if he's managing Lazio in Italy, probably a good choice.
A good choice, yeah. The real strange thing was that the Italy game that Taylor managed England for was in Italy as well. So Sven just decided not to take this game, even though he was in Italy at the time.
Busy.
Oh, so busy.
Wednesday. Oh, Wednesday.
Oh, I'm chocker.
Honestly, watch it on telly.
And yes, it's just insane, isn't it? And at this point, Peter Taylor was kept on as a coach for England, and Sven decided to just do the best thing, and he appointed Man United's assistant coach in Steve McLaren and their former assistant coach in Brian Kidd.
Peter Taylor 100% got that in his contract, didn't they? They were like,
Yeah.
look, what can we do? Because we just, it's going to be embarrassing. We can't go out there to manager. And he's like, I'm in.
Yeah.
Whoever you get, tell him on it. I'm in, and that's non-negotiable.
I'm under the table here.
Yeah, exactly. He's done a bit of Tom from Succession, I think, and
Yes.
just wrangled a position for himself there. Fair play to him. So, and yeah, Fergie's got the United boys.
Yeah,
Fergie's mates.
Yeah, he's brought them in to see how it's done as well, and I guess they know English football inside out, so they bring a lot of knowledge with them themselves. But they, as you would imagine, the press we just felt this was the biggest betrayal in the world.
Yeah,
than
yeah.
this.
I don't want to get into it too much, but I'm of the opinion that England shouldn't have foreign managers, and not just England.
Yeah.
I think every country should have a manager from their country.
What if they're all bad?
Then it's fine.
It's not fine because you should want them to win still. I think. I don't think it should be it should be this big thing of like it can never happen. I think the best becomes available. You're telling me the whole country wouldn't be fine if Guardiola wanted to manage England?
No, like it's never gonna it's already happened. Sven's done it, so there's no going back now. But it's just my opinion.
I'm surprised that it's not happened more often. There's only been two. I'm
Yeah.
surprised that with the influx of like international managers, that I'm surprised that not more have had it since.
I think it's still a bit of a touchy subject for people, and I'm not like that kind of person.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think like makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
Imagine like Brazil, but they've got no good Brazilian managers.
Well, it's not too hard to think of the last couple of years, is it?
It's true. But so the press then and reacted to Sven. What have they got to say for themselves? Welcome.
What a climb down. What a humiliation. What a terrible, pathetic, self-inflicted indictment. The Sun.
Okay. Who self-inflicted indictment? Who what's self-inflicted? Who have the FA made it so there's no good managers?
Apparently so, yeah. There's no pathway for them, clearly.
There's a long-winded argument for that, perhaps, in terms of not putting money into coaching and everything like that. But really,
Everyone's getting at this point, and the FA are the big villains of the peace scene here. Another one from the Daily Mail derided the FA's smarty pant spin doctors. I mean, spin doctors what? Saying fans wanted Terry Venables rather than Gianni Foreigner. I believe they would have settled for Billy Anybody. Yet we all sell our birthright down the fjord for a nation of 7 million skiers and hammer throwers who spend half their year living in total darkness. Have you not seen England?
Yeah.
Total darkness. We can't really get much bad as it is as we look out here now. It's like 3 hours of sunlight a day anyway.
you know what I would have put as the headline?
What?
Welcome. That's what I would have put. But God. So yeah, that's a really, really bad thing to have. And we've spoken before about what can happen when the fans and the team aren't on the same page and the press and all of that stuff. So they've gone, that's heavy. I mean, really slagging off Sweden.
Yeah,
as well.
in general,
A
yeah.
nation of skiers and hammer throwers.
I mean, hammer throwers, was that like really popular at the time that everyone knew that? I mean, I know she comes up like in a different part of his life, but how have they not got Ulrika Johnson in there at some point? She was like the only person anybody knew from Sweden, basically, apart from that chef off the Muppets, basically.
Yeah. So the fans wanted Venables, did they, as well?
Well, again, it's the newspaper telling fans who they want, really, isn't it? So the campaign for Venables had been in full swing from the press. But since leaving the England manager's job in 1996 due to an impending court case, Venables had failed to get Australia to the 1998 World Cup as well.
Interesting. And Venables was similar to Robson, wasn't he? In the case of it just ended badly, sort of
Yeah.
thing. And yeah,
That was kind of doing of more of his own doing, really, because he wanted to stay on, but because he had the looming court case, he resigned and said he wouldn't renew after Euro '96. And then Hoddle came in, and he was like, "Good, don't want him." And then Hoddle kept coming to training when he wasn't allowed to.
let's have a look at Sven then. I'm gonna stop pretending like I don't know who he is or what happens next, so I could talk about his really impressive CV. He won trophies in his native Sweden, which is impressive. Daily Mail. He also won trophies in Portugal and Italy before agreeing to join Blackburn Rovers in February 1997.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
I don't remember him going to Blackburn Rovers, but that's because he didn't actually go there. He didn't follow through the agreement, instead staying on in Italy and taking charge of Lazio in July 1997. This is where shit gets hot. He and Lazio would go through their most successful period in the club's history, winning the Coppa Italia, the Italian Super Cup, the European Cup Winners' Cup, and the Serie A title in the space of 3 years.
Mega impressive.
Yeah, good on you, Sven. I mean, that is if you're gonna get a foreign manager in, and obviously you're not gonna get Alex Ferguson or Arsene Wenger. That's the kind of ballpark you want to be looking at, isn't it?
That's kind of like a really clever, and wow, we've managed to get Sven-Göran Eriksson, who had to kind of won everything he needed to at Lazio, and they weren't the most glamorous club.
Like outside of international football, if there was a manager with that resume today, you'd be saying like Chelsea, maybe like Liverpool, or they'd been with talk of those type of jobs. So to get one of those for the England team, like you said about Pep earlier,
you may say someone like with Sven's background of like Tuchel, maybe won quite a lot, and I think people would be happy with Tuchel these days, wouldn't they? So it's similar to that, really. That's who they're going for.
Yeah, during the selection process, Sven hadn't been in the bookmakers' top 15. Oh, you would have loved to have lumped on, wouldn't you? The others kind of leading the field included Venables, as we mentioned, and Bobby Robson, John Gregory, as we mentioned,
Your mate.
Peter Reid, who we haven't mentioned, who would have been doing a good job at Sunderland.
Yeah, he'd have been at Sunderland, actually.
Brian Robson, former England captain, Alan Kirbishley, and David O'Leary.
This was the era of Kirbishley being linked to every job in the world.
Yeah, in his jumper and polo shirt with a collar, just...
Oh, this grey jumper. He always wore a grey jumper.
That's how I see him in my mind. A collar underneath a jumper, and it's kind of like it's kind of poking over a bit, but it's not a jumper that makes space for the collar. So Sven finally took his place in the England dugout in a friendly against Spain at Villa Park in February 2001. Nick Barmby scored the first goal of the Sven era.
He just always gets in there, doesn't he, Barmby? He's always around this era. It's incredible.
Yeah. Emil Heskey and Hugo Ekiog rounded off the scoring for England with an impressive win against the Spanish. Yeah, impressive. But it wasn't a competitive game. Sven's first competitive game in charge would come the following month against Finland at Anfield. One of his first major sort of big decisions was to appoint David Beckham as full-time captain, which Beckham repaid the favour by scoring the winner in that crucial qualifier. 4 days later, England were back at it, and they won 3-1 in Albania. Sven would give Ashley Cole his England debut in this game, and put out his kind of preferred back four for the first time of Gary Neville, Rio Ferdinand, Sol Campbell, and Ashley Cole. Another Cole, Andy Cole, also scored his only goal for England in this game. So the big Beckham, the big Sven characters are there early on.
Yeah, and
Beckham's in. That back four.
Yeah, the back four is kind of a not seen enough probably, but it's kind of everyone would grow to go, yep, that's the best England back four for now, for at least, with a couple of tweaks here and there for the next 4 years, really. That's the one everyone wants to see, isn't it?
Yeah. The summer internationals came around, bringing another friendly, which was a 4-0 win over Mexico, where Sven would eventually find himself managing.
Yeah.
Sven introduced a new string to his bow, a new bit of classic Sven. 10 changes during the match, 8 at half time. Later that week, England went to Athens and beat Greece 2-0 with Scholes and Beckham on the score sheet, before reconvening for international duty in August against Louis van Gaal's Netherlands. Sven, again, not really showing it the respect it deserves, making 8 changes at half-time, 11 overall. And we were beaten 2-0. Goals from Mark van Bommel and Ruud van Nistelrooy. The game is noteworthy for Owen Hargreaves' debut and Martin Keown and David James having to be brought off due to them colliding with each other during the second half. So that's James had only been on the pitch for 4 minutes.
Straight away, you're off. That shouldn't count as a cap, that should it?
2 of your 11 subs, at least, you got an excuse for. The Sven Army then had a rather important trip to Munich. How long ago does it seem that Keegan was resigning in the toilets?
Yeah.
That was one leg out of 2 qualifying legs against Germany. We've got a different manager. We've got a different team. We've got a spirit, and we've got a bloody foreigner in charge.
I know, who's doing the business as well, who's been mega, mega impressive so far. Going into the game, Germany had only dropped points in a 2-2 draw away in Finland, so we're already 3 points ahead of England, but with a better goal difference of 4. And yes, already that's a bit of a big chasm. So what follows now is one of England's greatest ever performances and results rolled into one.
Now Scholes. Scholes is on his way, he's got Heskey up with it. Emil Heskey, is this going to be another one? It is! Would you believe it? 5-1 to England. Heskey on the score sheet now. Heskey kept his head and stood it beyond the keeper. By Hammer, but it's all over. Well, they thought it was all over, not yet. It certainly isn't in terms of that qualifying place. A wonderful, wonderful, unbelievable result really for England. 5-1 it is in Munich, and it puts them very much back in contention for that automatic qualifying place for the World Cup finals in Japan and Korea.
Wow.
Stunning, isn't
Gordon
it?
Ramsay just entered the room for that, but really, that wasn't giving it the respect it deserved.
Yeah.
Incredible. One of the most amazing nights of England fandom of all time that there ever will be.
Yeah, and like you said, what a change that is from Keegan in terms of resigning in a toilet, and the result was so bad they knocked down old Wembley.
Yeah.
To this, where everything just seems possible again. You know, winning by 4 goals in who you see your biggest rival being as well.
Yeah.
Just nothing but impressive, and just no stopping them at this point.
Well, we won't go too much into it because that's a must cover for the future.
Yeah.
Maybe even sooner for some people, if you know what I mean. You might. Yeah, I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to say anymore. Let's move forward. Then England are now on level on points with Germany, and they've swung the goal difference to now being 4 ahead of Germany.
Yeah.
That's how goal difference works.
Yep.
I literally didn't feel that. I thought in my head when you were just explaining it, I was like, level.
Yes.
No, but we're 4 ahead. So still 2 games to go in qualifying, but one slip up could undo all of the hard work that the boys are putting under Sven and a bit of Keegan. The result against Germany was followed up 4 days later with a standard issue 2-0 win against Albania at St James's Park. So 1 game to go. England welcome Greece to Old Trafford. Sven's Army are without Campbell, Seaman and Owen for the game, but you should think still probably got enough to see Greece off. However, Greece did not see it that way and twice took the lead before David Beckham stepped up in the 92nd minute with the score at 2-1 to Greece.
Sheringham going for this one up early, and by doing that sometimes you get that sort of decision against Konstantinidis, who feels very hard done by. Arguably the most recognisable footballer in the world. Yes! Yes for England! David Beckham has done it big time! Well, if anyone asks you why football keeps people coming back and coming back, then you've had it all today. I said if anyone could pick a goal out, well, he's already a hero, but my goodness, where does this elephant in the dress?
Now, I am stunned
Yeah.
to say that this is such an amazing England moment, but I didn't watch this game, and I didn't watch this game, but I watched that free kick. I had a friend round, and we were playing PlayStation, and I was just thinking, foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
What's the point in watching it when my friend's round? He doesn't like football. I mean, what the
Yeah.
what am I doing there? But I remember walking through the front room with my bike, And I was like, well, I'll just watch this free kick. Bloody hell, bloody. And then it went in. I was like, yeah, that's good. See you later. I'm off out on my bike.
So you didn't have all like the emotion behind it
Nah.
either. You're just kind of like, this needs to go in, basically.
I was like, that's bloody good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I was like,
that's good. I'm not annoyed now.
yeah, insane. And one of Beckham's greatest England moments, but he was getting quite a few of them around this time, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's incredible, really. And everyone kind of remembers it. It's replayed every now and then on Instagram and Twitter and all these other kind of things too. And it's just hugely impressive and a big redemption for David Beckham, who was the ultimate villain 3 years previously at France '98, following his red card against Argentina. And now he's got the chance to lead England into a World Cup.
Here we go then. We are now going to look at our opponents, Argentina.
Had to happen, didn't it?
Oh, I'm convinced we're going to play them in this World Cup.
Somewhere along the way.
Yeah, no, well, in our last game of the tournament.
Oh, right,
probably.
okay.
Whenever that may be.
Yeah.
England had defeated, no, they hadn't. Argentina had defeated England on penalties in the first knockout round of France '98, so the World Cup previous to this. Argentina also exited the tournament earlier than expected, though, at the hands of one of the most memorable goals in modern World Cup history, the Dennis Bergkamp special.
Beautifully pulled down by Bergkamp! Oh, what a goal! Dennis Bergkamp has won it for Holland! That was absolutely brilliant!
Stunning. It's just so nice to have a bit of Barry Davis on the podcast. Finally.
Thank you, Barry. Argentina would pick themselves up from their dramatic exit and set about qualifying for the 2002 World Cup. They opened their campaign by scoring 4 goals in the opening 2 games. A little bit of a taste of the quality of the squad if you look at the goal scorers from those 4 goals. Gabriel Batistuta, Juan Sebastian Veron, Claudio Lopez, Ariel Ortega, and Hernan Crespo. Now that is 5 goal scorers for 4 goals.
In each game, though, so they didn't all score the same goals in the game still.
I'm with you. So it's 4 goals per game.
Yeah.
Not across the opening 2 games. I knew that. No, I didn't. But yeah, Jesus Christ, that's good.
I am there with those names. I'm so ready.
Yeah, I hate them. I hate them because of what they did, but they're bloody easy to love as well.
Yeah, impressive. I mean, Batistuta had just ripped it up in Italy when he'd gone there. I think he got 3 seasons in a row in Serie A as there. As not the top scorer, but scorer of 20-plus goals in a time when it was so hard to score goals in Italy. Veron had come to England with Man United as well and had kind of impressed in parts at United, but he'd had such a good kind of time in Italy as well, where he was seen. He became the most expensive player that English football had bought in that point as well.
Yeah, English football had brought. I
Yeah.
like that. Man United.
Yeah.
Argentina continued their good form with 5 wins from 5 until they visited rivals Brazil, where they suffered their only defeat in qualifying, losing 3-1 in Sao Paulo. After drawing with Paraguay at home, Argentina would go on another run of 8 wins from their final 11 games, including revenge against Brazil. Hugely impressive, and the squad, is seen as the best since they won the World Cup on home soil in 1978. In charge of these lovely bunch of footballers is Marcelo Bielsa.
I was still so shocked when I realised that it's Bielsa in charge of this Argentina side. And you go, star-studded Argentina with Bielsa. This is great.
I know, yeah, it is strange. And speaking of strange, Marcelo Bielsa, apparently he took 1,800 football videos along with him to Japan for the tournament just to watch in his sort of spare time.
Yeah, and then he decided that he needed more of them, so sent for another 200.
Just in case.
What a pervert. What an unacceptable pervert.
Absolutely. So the World Cup 2002 rolls around. England and Argentina have both successfully completed their qualifying mission. And 4 years after facing off in one of the most dramatic knockout games possible, they're drawn together in a group game. The group is completed by Nigeria, who are the highest ranked African side in the tournament and probably in African football.
Yeah.
And constant European pain in the arses and Sven's native land, Sweden.
Just had to happen. Apart from Nigeria, that is the group of narrative right there, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Right then. So the opening games for each team then. England started against Sweden. The big news was David Beckham was past fit to start and lead England, and it took 24 minutes before the unthinkable happened.
Yes! Sol Campbell puts England in front.
Sol scored a goal.
It's hilarious. No, it's not. It's not. It's not really. Oh my God. So, Sol has his moment. An England goal that stands.
It's sad. It's not remembered more than the 2 ones he had disallowed,
Yeah.
which is really sad actually, because he was such a great England player.
Mainly because it wasn't a winning goal either.
Yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't the winner. Danny Mills kind of panicked over the ball coming into the box and cleared it to Alexanderson, who smashed home the equaliser in the second half. And England were really criticised for letting Sweden dominate the second half, and they were really hanging on. And this really is a constant in Sven's England as well, seen as a classic first half good, second half not so good.
That's the story for Beckham as well. He was taken off in the second half with exhaustion, saying he felt fine in the first, but when he went to start the second, his lungs and his legs just went.
Yeah, just said he just wasn't used to playing that length of football again, especially to a competitive level, because I think he'd featured in the friendlies because he'd had his massive injury leading up to it too, but not for that much.
No, that's not a great omen, really. In Argentina's opening game, they struggled to break down Nigeria, but Batistuta scored from a corner to get Argentina over the line and put them top of the group going into this enormous game. It's game time.
Yeah.
It's England versus Argentina at the 2002 World Cup. The stadium is the Sapporo Dome in Japan, and the date is Friday, the 7th of June, 2002.
The Sapporo Dome. I love that. Because I think you can get Sapporo beer.
Right.
So I don't know if it's a sponsor or it's a region, maybe very well could be, but I was like, the Sapporo Dome sounds great.
So just as a little bit of extra hype, Sven said in the build-up that this game would determine whether his side were a big team.
I love that.
Go out there and show me.
Yeah, I've said that you might be a big team. Go and be one, please.
Well, this is the team that he put together for the big match. This big team. In goal, David Seaman. In defence, Danny Mills, Rio Ferdinand, Sol Campbell, and Ashley Cole. In midfield, captain David Beckham, Nicky Butt, Owen Hargreaves, and Paul Scholes. Up front, we have Emil Heskey and Michael Owen. Some of the big names on the bench: David James, of course, Gareth Southgate, of course, Kieran Dyer, of course, Robbie Fowler, Darius Vassell, Teddy Sheringham, Trevor Sinclair's in there as well. Can I start with my point, which is I was so surprised that Owen Hargreaves started this game.
Yeah.
Not because of it. I just thought this wasn't his era.
Yeah, I think he'd made his debut a couple of months previously in one of the friendly games. He had just broken through at Bayern Munich at the time and was kind of he played in the European Cup final and played really well when they'd won it as well. So, but he was still seen as this weird, again, another foreign player almost.
Yeah,
he was seen as. So he was like, wow, Owen Hargreaves is here. And he looks more like a model than a footballer.
Yeah.
He's so young. He's like bone structure and he's like floppy hair.
Yeah, it's just, Butt and Hargreaves in the centre of midfield with Scholes out on the left.
Yeah.
I was surprised that Scholes being shipped out on the left was this early as well.
Yeah, it happens, isn't it? But yeah, Hargreaves is in there and he's kind of a Timothée Chalamet era, really. But yeah, it happened in there. And Nicky Butt bought in as well. Butt had only just kind of made the World Cup squad himself due to Gerrard and Danny Murphy both dropping out through injury. And he raced back for this game. He didn't start the first game either, so it was Vassell who started.
You'd like a bit of Gerrard in there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think in that 5-1 against Germany, it was kind of seen as his big coming out performance of a big player for England, because that's him and Scholes kind of playing centre midfield. You back your team to play that game and win.
I was going to ask if this was the first Ferdinand and Campbell that we've seen on the pod, but I think we must have against Brazil, surely.
Oh, yeah, of course it would have been, yeah. But this is very good era for them still. And they'd only, like we said, just started playing together, really.
Other than that, other than Mills, that's what you'd expect, really.
I think so, yeah. Mills is in because Gary Neville's absence as well, too. But yeah, Ferdinand had gone to the 98 World Cup and then not 2000, which seems weird. And Tony Adams started that first game of this World Cup qualification as well. I think he captained England as well.
He was going to be the man who was the captain, wasn't he?
And it's just crazy. Like Keegan and Adams were mere a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Not even that really.
When you look
at it, less than 2 years ago, we've still got Keegan and Adams. And now it's like Ferdinand, Campbell, and Sven. Like, what a transformation.
Let's have a look at Argentina then, Nick.
Yeah, they've got Cavallero in goal, and then a back three of Pochettino, Walter Samuel, and Placent. They've also got Zanetti, Diego Simeone, Veron, and Sorin in midfield. And up front, Ariel Ortega, Kitty Gonzalez, and Batistuta. Some of the names on the bench: Claudio Lopez, Pablo Aimar, and Crespo.
Yeah, some huge names really. Batistuta, Veron,
Diego Simeone. Just
of
him still being in there, being that utter warhorse too.
That's the big story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Beckham and Simeone. Oh,
back again against each other too. Yeah. So exciting. Veron's captain in this game as well. Ayala is out injured. And it's a really strong team, as you say, with a lovely mix of kind of hard defensive bastards and just cold killers up front as well.
We've got a long-haired Mauricio Pochettino.
Yeah, he looks very strange with long hair, doesn't he? And I think Placent's got long hair too. There's a lot of hairy lads in this game, I think.
Let's have a look at the kits, build-up and anthems then. England are in red. White shorts and red socks, but a red top that is probably best known for this game.
I really can't think of another game England even play a game in this in, like what, from memory.
Did Rooney ever wear this top? I think Rooney may have wore this top on his debut.
Ooh, I don't think so. I'm gonna say no. I think there was a bit of an in between top. I want to say. Yeah.
Argentina, it's as you'd expect, really, a nice version of what you'd expect.
Yeah, I think that's a classic Argentina shirt, really. I know every Argentina shirt is blue and white striped, but there's just something about this, and I quite liked. This is one of the identikits I quite liked, because I think Adidas did this one, and there was almost like a netting where the numbers were.
Right.
So it was kind of like one of those things. I just found that one nice. I love that shirt.
So we're at the Sapporo Dome, and the first thing we see on the stream is the players are all in the tunnel, as you'd expect, but there's no glamour to this tunnel.
No, not at all.
It's like a really, really low rent tunnel. Like there's no like marketing or advertising for the World Cup. It's like Severance or something. They're just in a hall from Severance. Kind of adds to the drama.
Yeah, just like no nonsense almost.
And we see big Pierluigi Collina is the ref.
Always great to see Collina. You feel like the game's going to be good and it's going to be fair no matter what happens in this game now.
We've got Motson on commentary as well. One of the first things he says is we have an assistant referee from the Maldives. Motson says, I didn't know they played much football out there, but apparently they do.
I mean, they can still referee even if they don't have a highly competitive league.
Also, just taking that there's an assistant referee for this game as, they do play a lot of football in the Maldives, then there you go. He could just be an isolated chap.
Yeah.
I know we're on record as loving Motson, but I really like his style because he kind of makes you feel calm he's not like selling it like it's the biggest thing ever. He kind of just shares facts, and it's like he's so nervous that he's just going, of course 16 goals apiece scored between these in the last 4 tournaments, and are you all right, John? And he's like, yes, David Beckham's making his 51st appearance or something. Yeah. Just all these facts, and you're just like, fuck, I'm scared as well.
He's almost like trying to keep himself in it with these facts as well. Yeah, him and Trevor Brooking. I think this is a really classic England like commentary duo, isn't it? I love hearing these two together.
Yeah, and for the start, they kind of do let the sounds do the talking. They don't talk over every single gap.
Which is what's really, I'm not going to look forward to for this World Cup coming up, because it's just going to be constantly, oh no, we're here, and it's all the pre-prepared lines, and now the anthems, and the second one's done. Well, wasn't that really good? Yeah, lots of pride there. And
the anthems, Argentina start us off, and their anthem is booed.
Very strongly booed.
Very strongly booed.
Yeah, and the England fans sing over it.
Yeah. And then when it's England's turn, the anthem is done twice.
Yeah, that's a shock to everybody, that, isn't it?
Yeah. Weird. So weird. Why?
I don't know. Maybe they just thought it was going to be longer than it was, and then it just ends, and they go, okay, just do it again quickly. And
we've got a minute to fill. There's only bloody 30 seconds.
But they kind of, everyone gives themselves like a little smile as well. Like everyone's just like, it's happening again, isn't it? And then also the Argentina fans are also whistling over England, so fair.
Do you think it was Bielsa? Fuck with them. Fuck with them. Play the anthem twice, see how they react.
Didn't he have like a weird whistle? Am I thinking that's someone else? Like I just imagine him like whistling madly.
We get to the handshakes, and the entire world is watching, aren't they? For whether Beckham shakes Diego Simeone's hand. He's last in the line as England go down and Beckham's obviously first in line.
Yeah.
And just massive, really. Just proper like moments.
It's the Ross and Rachel of their day. Will they, won't they? Will they shake hands?
And how does it end?
They do shake hands, and they're fine, really. It kind of feels odd. It's only been 4 years since the sending off. It feels like about 8 or something.
Yeah.
But as well, Beckham and Simeone had already made up after the game in 98 too, so it all kind of got blown up a little bit. They actually ended up swapping shirts after the game.
Yeah, I reckon it was never really that personal. I think, Beckham would probably just been like, probably would have done the same for myself, and I'm not going to dwell on it.
I think Simeone, he definitely would be one of those people after the game of like, those pat you around the head, like that big bloke pat around the head of like, don't worry.
It's just business.
It's just business. You're just one of the victims, the many victims. But they'd actually played each other at club level as well. In 1998, United had played Inter, and Inter had come to Old Trafford, and I remember seeing the picture of Beckham and Scholes afterwards, and Scholes and Beckham are just smiling at each other as Simeone just walks down the line, and they're ready now. They're all on the pitch, and this is all about business again.
Business time. Bring on the hairy boys then. The camera flashes are crazy at kickoff, and there are so many England flags everywhere. This is a World Cup being held in South Korea and Japan.
Yes.
About 10 seconds in, we get Brooking going on a rant, actually, about how he doesn't like the arena because it's too wide.
Yeah, he's whinging about something, isn't he? And then also, I think at one point he's like, I don't really rate the goalkeeper either, Cavallero. not for me.
He goes in on the keeper a few times, to be fair. But too wide for him, apparently. It is usually a baseball stadium, actually, a Sparrow Dome.
Oh, okay.
And we've already spoken about the ball, but we get a nice close-up as it's kicked off. Argentina start well. Gabriel Batistuta putting himself around a bit, so much so that he gets booked early on with a late barge through Ashley Cole.
Yeah, he does. And, Ashley Cole is fine, but someone who's not fine is Owen Hargreaves, and he is injured 3 minutes into the game.
This is when he's young as well.
No, he's just young and strong, and he's not got all these war wounds as well. But yeah, he is injured early on, and it takes 15 minutes for him to actually come off the pitch. He keeps trying to say, I'm fine, don't worry about me. And it's like, Owen, your foot is hanging off here. And he's brought off for Trevor Sinclair.
Yeah. The one of the stories of the tournament, also almost for England though. Trevor Sinclair.
Yeah,
really. Very
really.
not somebody who you'd consider would be getting a kick or maybe even on the plane, but ended up being used quite a lot.
No, and he ended up being on quite a few planes because he'd gone out there as like a reserve for England, had flown back, and then I think someone else had got injured, so he had to fly back like literally a day later.
In the days before AirPods as well, I bet he was bored out of his mind. He would have had those fluffy headphones.
Oh, they wouldn't have been smart at all. like the big 90s ones, like with a foam on them, like orange foam.
Big 90s ones. He's a very rich man in 2002, but we can't get away from it. So it is strange, really, when you think how have England got themselves into the situation of playing Danny Mills and Trevor Sinclair at an international tournament.
Yeah, it's just very odd that they've got to this point, and then you go, okay, well, Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes are now playing in the middle, because at least you go then, actually, well, Sinclair's on, so Scholes gets to play in his favoured position still too.
Motson was musing before the sub was made, maybe we bring Dyer on and move Beckham centrally, and it's like, Paul Scholes, he's on the left.
Leave him where he should be. Also, Kieran Dyer, famously brittle man, even at this point. I think he'd only just recovered from an injury. He'd just make it on the bench. He was like, don't bring him on yet.
Not one for the listeners, really, but the flag I've put a picture of, is it a George Costanza flag? Amongst all these England flags, you have just like a really strange looking, I don't know how to describe it.
It looks like Pee Wee Herman to me.
Pee Wee Herman?
Yeah, you have to Google that.
I'm going to have to Google
It's weird, creepy, like show in America that was, I don't know, maybe it was like really subversive, but it was more like a kid's show.
It does look
I think
like
it was like Pee Wee's Playhouse, I think it was called. And it was just, I remember the film being mega creepy, and I was like, I thought this was supposed to be like a nice fun time, whatever this was.
Motson now mentions that because France have made an uncertain start, Argentina are many people's favourites to win the whole damn tournament. He doesn't say damn.
He would never. Not Motson. But yeah, they were seen as that because France had got off to the bad start, as we said, and Argentina hugely favoured. And the fact that they were both, them and France were favourites going into the tournament kind of speaks better of Argentina because France were world champions, European champions, the players that everyone knew in the Premier League too. But then you look at Argentina and people are going, yeah, actually, they're the better team. Like, that's how good they were going into this.
We've kind of mentioned the hairy boys, but yeah, it was around this time in the game when I was just like, Where have all the hairy players gone?
In
do
the
you
world.
think Argentina are going to look like this in the World Cup in Qatar?
No, I don't think so, because they've all got like nice, literally footballs are more pampered now, so they're just going to look nicer. But they've even got a few like hairy guys spare on the bench as well when it cuts over. And there's a guy on the bench that looks so hard. He looks like a UFC fighter, but like from back in the day when they could do ice stuff. Like it's just he looks
He
terrifying.
looks like a cross between Cain Velasquez and Chuck Liddell.
Yeah, well, there you go. One for the bruisers and brutes out there.
England do get a hold in the game. Beckham especially, you can see how much he wants to make an impact. You don't really see players doing this anymore, like almost going rogue with pure passion.
I think so as well. And we've seen it with Beckham quite a lot. He seemed like a very ill-disciplined footballer. The more we watch him, we're just like, well, I'm playing centre midfielder now, so good luck everyone else.
He's trying a free kick from 40 yards plus out, shooting every chance he can get. He wants this, man. He wants this.
Maybe it was like the discipline under Sven as well, because he was just seen as this big icon and he'd put him captain and he was one of the most recognisable people in the world at this point as well.
And he'd had some success with those I'm going to do it all performances as well. So
and he kind of got out of jail in that Greece game as well, because he'd had about 5 free kicks that day that hadn't gone in. I remember as he was standing over the last one, Teddy Sheringham kind of comes over and goes, I'm taking this one. But could you imagine like David Beckham going, yeah, okay then.
No, that's fair enough.
I've had my fair share.
England have had the fair share of fouls on them.
Yeah.
Argentina are constantly going in late and just conceding free kicks. It seems like their tactic is perhaps to break up England's play.
I think so. And
I think rather than it being like they're up for it and they're agitated, that's just a tactic from them.
And I think as well, they were talked about maybe winding England up in the process, because it had worked in France 98 to maybe get someone lashing out to them and retaliating. But England are kind of doing it themselves. They've seen what the game is and they start going, actually, we're going to fight in this game too. I think Michael Owen had talked about wanting to draw more fouls out of Argentina the way that they'd done it to them previously.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Michael Owen famously having dived the previous World Cup as well. So it was like, okay, well, I see how you've done it.
Halfway into the half, and there is a definite foul on Paul Scholes near the halfway line that isn't given. I genuinely just thought the referee couldn't be arsed blowing his whistle again. Literally, it's just like, fuck it, man. If you're just going to keep failing, it's never going to end.
I'm not going to do anything about this.
Yeah. And then we have a big moment.
Heskey back to challenge again. Forward ball. Michael Owen! Can he do it again against Argentina? Oh, he's hit the post! He very nearly did.
Michael Owen hits the post.
I forget about this. And the excitement in Motson's voice when it's just
Yeah.
like it sprung upon him all. Like, Michael Owen, he's in. And it's like, you're just transported there straight away.
It's that rare feeling of this is a big game and England have started well and England they're continuing to start well. Oh my God, they've had a really good chance. Come on. Now it's on.
It's like you say, this is a big game. This is a big moment.
Yeah.
Like you feel like this could be something that happens. And it's a really good effort. Owen kind of fakes to shoot and then gets the ball through Samuel's leg. And players at this point were just terrified of Michael Owen, where he didn't have that electric, unstoppable pace as he did 4 years earlier. But he also, I don't think there was a better finisher in the world when Michael Owen was one-on-one with the goalkeeper.
You're right.
Never remember him missing a chance. And I always would love to get the nerds to have a look at the XG of what Michael Owen would get from his chances these days.
The nerds.
Yeah. Get all the squares and the Michael Coxes in there.
That bit of activity kind of looks to have opened the game up, and Argentina now are back up the other end.
On the far side, Gonzalez. And still Batistuta!
1-1 for chances. Great little clip ball, Keegan Gonzalez, who I think's done well from him. He's just stretching and he can't get the power, but Sol Campbell mustn't just let him get behind you like that.
Oh, that was a good chance, actually.
It was a very good chance, but a quite simple save for Seaman in the end.
It's a let-off.
Yeah, that's what it is. Either side of Seaman or a bit lower, you think that they're really going to struggle with that, aren't they? He's kind of free of Campbell, heads it straight at David Seaman, and it's just like, okay, 2 big chances in the space of 2 minutes as well.
England get another couple of half chances, though. They're starting to play really well, actually. They've been woken up and are first to every ball, but the foul count remains ridiculous. Although the next yellow card is for Ashley Cole. You want to talk a little about Paul Scholes?
Yeah, I think he plays really well in this game, actually. And because he now goes to his own central midfield position where he likes, and he's got his teammate Nicky Butt beside him as well. And he's really shining in comparison to like a Varane who's playing fine, or Ortega who can't really get the ball. Simeone, you don't really notice him a lot in this game either.
Yeah.
And I think Scholes is just showing that this is in the good Scholes box, isn't it? Because we've seen a lot of hot and cold Scholes.
There's not much that can be done when you're in the good Scholes box.
Yeah.
I really don't feel like it's just a shame that you don't remember. He hasn't really got those World Cup or European Championship moments for England, because
Even though he's probably scored in a lot of those games, but like we looked at the Euro 2000 game with Keegan, that was like he was the standout player in an awful England side, and he scored at a World Cup in '98, but it was again the Tunisia game, and I think a lot of the time he's remembered more for his bad World Cup and Euros performances, when I think it's a bit unfair, really.
Yeah. Things after kind of a few chances there, and Ashley Cole gets his yellow card, things actually finally start to settle down. I would say that the game is being played on the edge of control. Neither side is really allowing the other to get comfortable, and then something huge happens.
Due to having each picked up a yellow card in this first half. Now Trevor Sinclair on the chase. Samuel comes across. Owen. But to Scholes. Oh, it's his Heskey the shot. And where's it going next? Owen got in there, then Nicky Butt again, then Scholes once more. Now on this side, Owen again. Oh, it's a penalty! Michael Owen brought down by Pochettino.
It was as well. Took his standing foot as he came inside. What a chance. Now, dear, oh dear.
42 minutes gone, and Michael Owen, who wounded Argentina 4 years ago, may have stabbed them in the heart again here. Foul by Pochettino, and the responsibility now is that of David Beckham. Well, there were plenty of penalties the last time they met in the World Cup, and we've got another one here.
Come on, dear, oh dear.
Well, he's been the talisman so much in this qualifying competition. Can he do the same in the finals?
Oh, it's a penalty to England. It's a penalty to England.
Michael Owen has gone over and won a penalty again.
Michael Owen has been fouled in the box by Mauricio Pochettino.
How are you defining foul? It's very soft.
It is soft. So, a blocked Paul Scholes shot leads to a bit of pinball on the edge of the Argentina box. The ball drops again to Scholes. He picks out a lovely pass to Owen, who kind of shuffles the ball to the right of Pochettino, and he's brought down by the future Spurs manager. The pass from Scholes kind of reminded me of, do you remember when Michael Owen scored for Manchester United against Manchester City, and it was 4-3.
Yeah, the
and it
Giggs
was
one.
like you didn't really see him on the camera. Then Giggs picked out the pass, and all of a
Yeah,
sudden he's
yeah.
like, "Oh shit, Michael Owen's in a great chance."
What's he doing there?
No. Obviously, he had Pochettino in front of him there, but it was almost like, okay, the blocking, it's pinball. We're never gonna. Oh, hang on, we're in their penalty area now. And Michael
Yeah.
Owen's running at them. He just took it round him and gone down because Pochettino's left his leg out.
Yeah, definitely. I think that may get changed if it was VAR these days, but yeah, he's gonna take
You're
it.
right.
Owen, isn't he? Never gonna not do that.
Yeah. You know what? David Beckham himself had charged into a tackle on the edge of the box during that pinball, but he was already diving before he'd even got close to the player. He wanted that free kick so badly, so he's charged in to try and win a free kick, and he really faked it and gone over.
He's always holding like that foot as well,
Yeah,
isn't he?
the
Like
left.
so the referee is good. Oh, it's this one. It's this one. They've hurt.
Yeah, thank God it wasn't given, because now he's got, he's good at free kicks, obviously, but now he has a better chance to convert from the spot and put 4 years of trauma in the past.
On this huge stage, David Beckham with the penalty for England. Hold the cups and the glasses back home. You can smash them now. Beckham has scored for England. 44 minutes, and he's done it again. David Beckham puts England in front against Argentina in Sapporo. Jubilant scenes here of English support. And didn't he stay cool?
to Cavalier. He just stood there, and if anything, hit the back of the net before he even shot his left leg out. David Beckham, not surprisingly, going for power. What a moment for it. Straight down the middle, and nobody got in the way. And what a time to score a minute before the interval.
What a pen.
The commentary there sticks with me forever. This game was on a Friday, and I remember watching this at home. So I don't think we were like not usually allowed to like go home for like football games, but this was definitely one of like you can watch this at home. And I remember being in my front room with my mom watching this, and the commentary just stuck with me forever. Of hold the cups in the glasses back home. You can smash them now. Beckham has scored for England, and I just love that line so much. Motson just does so perfectly with it.
I remember me, my brother, and my dad watching it with our little Yorkshire Terrier dog, who was kind of sat on the settee, and we all were like stood up, for the goal, and then like my dad was like fist bumping in the air and kind of fell back, and like the dog was like, ah! My dad like fully just sat like all of his body weight on this little dog, and we were like, the dog's still alive.
It's fine. We've got another goal.
We've got a goal, and the dog's still alive. But yeah, what a pen! Hit so clean and so hard, and the composure from Beckham is amazing. Kind of made me think about when people talk about thick footballers. I know you mentioned earlier Jason McAteer, I think it was.
Yeah.
But Beckham's the popular stereotype, or at least he was. But, you know, we all know the narrative and the emotion that kind of leads to this point. Imagine the emotional intelligence he must possess to not be a complete wreck right in that moment. Also, just aside from that, have we taken the lead too early? Because surely not. Is it
43 minutes
43
on the clock.
minutes. It's all going so well.
It's doing all right. I think England have played very well. And like you say, back at the penalty too, he actually drills it straight down the middle, and the goalkeeper's like foot doesn't get there in time because the keeper's kind of stayed in the middle, but he's gone to his right. The penalty's just gone past his foot, and to kind of almost have the wherewithal to just go, I'm just going to hit this down the middle. Kind of is like,
it's mad.
Is that a great idea? Is it a terrible idea? Has he psyched him out? Has he mishit it? But it's gone in, and it's always just like you remember it because it just looks like it rockets into the corner, but it's so close to his foot as well.
Conceding the goal leads to Bielsa to do his first squat of the game. No bucket required. Back when he had better posture and he could just squat without support.
He does as well. And Argentina start coming forward, and a cross is claimed by David Seaman, and Motson just quips, Seaman in charge, England in charge. Which I loved.
Like a glitch in the Matrix. Yeah. England, I wasn't expecting that. And that is half-time.
Because at half-time in Sapporo, thanks largely to Michael Owen and David Beckham's penalty, England are in the lead against Argentina. Owen, who hit the post earlier, brought down for a clear penalty kick, and a little, oh look at that's a nice touch. Simeone actually shook hands with Beckham as they left the field. What a good gesture that is after what happened 4 years ago. But what isn't in any dispute at all as Argentina walk off looking rattled is that the half-time score is 1-0 to England.
Tense, but jubilant.
Jubilant, and for some reason, hungry. So Motson, at this point now, throughout the game, has just been talking innately about food and people being at home.
Yeah, is it like as soon as the what you call it, does it? Oh, was this the game with the sausages?
So the Brazil game we covered, he starts saying that the sausages will be sizzling in a pan at home and things like, because it was an early kickoff. I think this was a relatively early kickoff, but he mentions food like all the time. He does it once when the players walked off. When they come back on, he also mentions and asks if people at home have had any sustenance during half time. Like everyone's just going to go home and eat a sandwich during the game, like at half time, what they've had. He says that Trevor Brookings not eating his evening meal, and this game's holding him up from doing so as well, and the co-coms. And there's just lots of talks of like tea and crockery and that.
Yeah.
Do you think he just can't understand that people would have been in the pub even if it was really early? Like he just can't comprehend that?
I don't know. I think he wants to make pub references, but like maybe he's been told not to, and he's just like, well, food then. I don't know. But
cups of tea. The nans will be drinking cups of tea. It's like, yeah, I've not really got it either. But he's food bloody mad. He's like some deranged nan who's just like, oh, eat something Ashley Cole. You're gonna waste away.
You haven't seen Grandma's House, have you?
No.
Whenever like Simon Amstel in that is like, having like a crisis of confidence or anything. He'll say this big, like, deep thing. He'll be like, "What's the point in my life? You know, we're all just ants flying around, and we're all destined to die and die alone anyway." And she goes, "You want a banana, don't you?" So it's that sort of thing from Motson.
Well, it definitely sounds similar. And I look at it more. I look at Danny Mills. Looks like a giant baby that a nan would constantly feed, like the one that is Spirited Away or something. This just massive hulking baby.
Let's get back to the football then. Let's
England
get away
played
from
well.
the food. Yeah, England played well, and the monkey is off the back.
Yeah.
Beckham's had his moment now, so I mean, it could be spoiled. It could be a spoiled moment, but like, why would it not be the start of a great win?
Absolutely, yeah. And they've held their own against Argentina, so much to the point that Bielsa makes a half-time change.
Well, Sven's held his own against Bielsa.
Yeah, exactly. And Bielsa's bought off Varane for Pablo Aimar, and Pablo Aimar was like one of the long list of players before Messi came along, who was supposed to be the new Maradona. So Varane was seen as that. Ariel Ortega, who's also on the pitch, was seen as that as well. And then Aimar too. So they brought the captain off.
Yeah.
And you just think, well, that's a bit of a... I don't think he played badly, but I just think that's a very big move for him to do straight away.
It's Bielsa, isn't he?
It's insane.
A bit wild.
Yeah.
Let's get back to it. Obviously, we've already mentioned the second half not so good after the first half that was so good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's going to be that's hanging over the squad and the game and the fans at home as well.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with this, though, England actually start the second half really, really well. They get
good then.
They get quite a lot of good chances. So, first, Owen spins Placent after a long ball and leaves him for dead. And he really should hit the target. As soon as he's in, you feel like Motson and everybody start just going like, "Oh, he's in again!"
Yeah.
Like it just immediately he's through on goal, only the keeper to beat, and he actually drags it really badly wide, like so un-Michael Owen.
No, it is, yeah.
And so many times in this game and in this tournament, I feel like Michael Owen puts so much into his finishing that he always ends up on the floor.
Yeah.
Like he's constantly just got his arms behind him.
He's at the edge of control.
Yeah, just like lying on the floor, like, oh, okay, like someone's dragging him up off like the floor too.
Another chance soon comes after that, actually. Heskey has a shot blocked and Scholes' half volley is punched away. England also have some accidentally good football, which means Beckham is part way through on goal, but he can't just get his shot on target. Now, before we started, I control F'd the word volley. And we only mentioned it twice, the word volley, but England try so many fucking volleys in this second half.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's like you don't have to volley it.
No, you've got time. You've got time to take a touch in this game as well.
Loads of them. You're crazy,
It
man.
feels like Scholes has about three, at least.
Beckham has a few. They're just sharing them when he comes on later.
Oh, the Sheringham one is brilliant, isn't
He
it?
does have but he's got a couple of bad ones as well.
The Sheringham one is great because you can see immediately it cuts to him and he goes, "Fucking twat."
Motson tells us that there's only 60,000 people in the stadium. Pretty good, really. Yeah. But some of the tickets haven't been taken up and FIFA are having an inquiry as to where they've gone. Just give it up.
Have you lost the tickets? Yeah. But also, it's like, Motson's really funny because he goes, "I've heard some are available on the website. If you can get on the website." Like he's trying to get Glastonbury tickets or something.
Yeah.
And he goes, "That wouldn't trouble me. I wouldn't be able to get on the website." It's like, you sound like the oldest man who ever lived, even back for 2002, on that internet.
That wouldn't trouble me as it's my job to be here. So my tickets are sorted by people who work for the BBC.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Emil Heskey is then taken off and the aforementioned Teddy Sheringham is brought on.
So popular, Teddy Sheringham, around this period. It really surprised me. He gets such a great ovation when he comes on. It's like one rung below like a Jack Grealish sub appearance.
Do you think it may have been anything to do with Man United? Was he even still there? Because of it just being like that,
like in Asia or something.
Yeah,
he's very popular. Maybe he was at Spurs, I think, around this point. So maybe I think it may have been the fact that he was just, a lot of England fans would have grown up watching Teddy Sheringham be like a really good player for them, and now seeing him come on, and he'd had like his last season at Man United, I think he was PFA Player of the Year, and then Ferguson moved him on, and he just kind of like had a solid career after that. So maybe it was just seeing, oh, Teddy's coming on. I always remember the thing of, oh, Teddy's coming on was the thing. And then even for like the Greece game that we talked about, he comes on and scores 5 seconds after he's come on the pitch.
Yeah.
And actually, he nearly repeats the same goal here with like a weird backwards header from a Beckham free kick.
Yeah.
So it was almost like a special move that he had around this time as well.
Class. Did you say you're just one level below Jack Grealish?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can Yeah, they're kind of not similar characters, but they've got that normal bloke element about them.
I feel like Teddy Sheringham has never looked any older.
No,
ever.
yeah.
Like you look at him when he like, I remember seeing him on the first ever Premier League goal that was shown live, like the first televised game. It looks exactly the same here, and that's 10 years difference. And now there's like 20 years on, and you see him getting interviewed on stuff. It's almost like still got the same, like he's just come off the golf course kind of vibe to him.
Yeah, I think that is probably, well, obviously it's down to money and the ability to and taking care of yourself. But like, I think there is something with people who approach life like in that relaxed way. They're gonna look less stressed out as they get older, aren't they?
Oh yeah, I can always just imagine him. He's just come back off holiday somewhere as well.
Yeah, exactly. And why not? Good, best of luck to him.
I love Sheringham. Yeah.
But as you say, he's nearly doubled England's lead. But we've got more danger coming on for Argentina now. They make their own subs, or continue to. Crespo, currently of Lazio, is brought on for Batistuta. But Batistuta and Veron are both off after being expected to dominate not just the game, but the tournament itself. Lopez is also on for Kili Gonzalez. So Bielsa is fucking fuming.
Taking no prisons at this point, is he? And who would have thought that Batistuta and Veron both off when they were supposed to light up the whole tournament, as you say? And you just think this is everything's just changing now, isn't it?
Yeah. But and Heskey, mate. That's what you need. That's what you need. That's the real shit. Yeah, England have still been going for it for the second, but you kind of feel 65, 60, maybe in between 60 and 70 anyway. They do start to sit back.
Yeah.
Is that good? You don't want to be caught on the break. I get that, but
no, because I think Heskey comes off for Sheringham, as we said, so that's a bit of a different kind of person up front. But then this is the point where Ferdinand and Campbell are pretty much picture perfect throughout this whole game. And in this point in particular as well, they're winning everything on the air. Stuff comes across the ground. One of them's always there to clean up after the other one too. Always knowing where the ball is. I think Ferdinand used to talk about when he was in this mode of just being in the zone where nothing could get past him.
Yeah.
He could see where the ball was going to come from all the time. He always had his man. And actually, we talked about this is one of the first times we've seen Ferdinand and Campbell play together. They actually don't play together that much throughout their England career. Only 29 times. That seems really low.
I mean, it's a lot if it's World Cup games. Like,
Not 29 World Cup games.
no, but you
together,
know what I
but
mean? Like, if they all mattered, 29 games is more than enough to make a complete legacy. But obviously, it just wasn't the case, was it? 29 of those. You imagine less than 9 of them would have been
I think
big
it
games.
comes at weird periods in both careers. 'Cause I don't think they're like massively different in terms of age. But you look at them and you kind of go, okay, well, by 2004, Ferdinand had missed his drugs test. By 2006, Campbell's out of the team and Terry's in.
Yeah.
And then you like the previous one, they're still playing Adams and things like that. I mean, you look at Campbell and Ferdinand. So Campbell had 73 games for England, Ferdinand 81. Campbell actually played more with Phil Neville than he did with Ferdinand. And Ferdinand played more with Emil Heskey and Joe Cole than he did with Campbell.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean, where it's like they got a partnership that everyone really remembers as being brilliant and kind of ripped apart too early, maybe. But the fact that Ferdinand plays with Heskey more blew my mind.
Well, Heskey's ever present. I mean, they were both playing together in 2010. Well,
Yeah.
not in the World Cup,
Yeah,
but
leading up
qualifying.
to it, yeah.
Argentina continue to build that pressure, though, and there is only so much the defenders can do to stop them.
Again, Pochettino and Samuel coming in on the corner. And Pochettino gets it again! And it's off the line!
Seaman, fantastic save.
Well, I think Pochettino thought he'd equalised. Corner again to Argentina.
David Seaman can still stop them. Big Dave to the rescue.
He's done very well there, but I'd say it's quite an unspectacular save. But Motson is just terrified of the ball going anywhere near it, and it's just shot up in front of him like something's just come out the ground.
Yeah.
And he just scoops it up quickly before he can even see it, basically.
Yeah, it looks like a bit of an accidental save to me.
Yeah, I think he just gets hit to him because it's Pochettino, isn't it? And I don't think Motson's quite got how to say his name that.
Yeah.
And he kind of goes, Pochettino.
Pochettino. Hoka Pontus.
It's kind of how I imagine Tim Sherwood used to say his name or something.
Yeah. He was so Poch's header from the corner, wasn't he?
Yeah, it
so
was.
14 minutes to go, and Seaman's save has kind of kept England's lead there. And England, at this point, sort of go even deeper into that sort of holding on mode.
This will do. This will
Oh,
just
God, it will
always
do.
do. Yeah.
The switch to a midfield 5 now. Wayne Bridge is on throwing. We didn't even mention him in the subs, did we, Wayne Bridge?
No, knowing
What
that
is he doing?
Forgetting he even came on, even though we watched the game.
He must have been
comes
about
on.
6 years old. No way. Beckham gets in the centre finally, as he'd like to be. And
Yeah.
Sinclair's on the right.
The fact that Beckham stayed on as well.
Oh, he's going to stay on, mate.
But that's crazy, really, isn't it? When, like, he said that he couldn't barely walk during the second half last time, and he's like, "No, I'm building my fitness. I'm going to be on the pitch when we win this."
Powered by narrative, man. There's a bit of a Argentina continue to probe. England are looking a bit tired, but there's always kind of somebody there.
Yeah, Danny Mills turns into this weird defensive monster for the last 5 minutes, and it's just like easily the best I've ever seen him play for England at this point. He's a bit shaky in other parts, but I think it's just all that pudding he's been gulping down, if I'm honest. He's just strong boy now.
This is probably what's cemented him in my mind as wasn't he amazing in that World Cup? Maybe just like when we needed to hold on.
Yeah.
Like he was there.
Like, he was all right. He set up Owen's goal, didn't he? And he helped set up Owen's goal against Brazil as well. And again, he was at fault for one of the goals in the Sweden game, but I think he was fine in this tournament. I did hear something the other day, apparently, when I don't know when Gary Neville was injured. It may have been against Leeds, but apparently, like, Danny Mills is like almost seen to be like celebrating as he sees Gary Neville go off because he knows he'd be going. Basically, it's just like, that is rough.
We get a mention of Andy Cole.
Yeah, John Motson is so like terrified and doesn't even know what's going on anymore. He starts mentioning Andy Cole, who's not even in the squad.
Perhaps it's Ashley Cole.
Yeah, I think it's Ashley Cole. He's like, Andy Cole goes, "Oh, he's not even in the squad. What am I talking about?" Like, he's just like he's William Regal. Like, he's had a moment to himself. Oh, bloody hell!
Love that. It's like the not competitive goals. This obviously isn't a competitive from the very first episode. We get a last look at the Argentina bench at Juan Sebastian Veron, who looks like he's about to burst into tears as the clock ticks down. Tick tock, tick tock.
We are coming up now to the end of the second minute of stoppage time. Michael Owen, who's been substituted, watching as anxiously as anybody. England have beaten Argentina in the World Cup for the first time since 1966 and have laid the ghost of 1986 in Mexico and 1998 in France. 8,000 supporters jubilant in Sapporo. Argentina defeating Campbell and the rest of the defence, indeed the whole side, producing a sterling, solid performance for Sven-Göran Eriksson. David Beckham, the full 90 minutes, scores the goal from the penalty spot by which England won.
I'll tell you what, it's a lot better and a lot less terrifying playing than it is actually watching these games. It's awful. Fantastic.
The last 15 minutes were nail-biting, but to be fair, England were the better team, they had the better players, they were better in virtually every department. They should have won by 2 or 3. It was one of the great performances. I think it's a better performance than Germany won England 5, simply because they're playing against one of the best teams in the world, and they made them look distinctly ordinary.
And it's all over.
One of the most memorable results in England's history, I'd kind of say, and they're definitely their World Cup history, for me anyway.
Yeah, I'm so happy for Beckham.
Yeah.
We mentioned earlier, Simeone and him would probably patch it up quite quickly if there was anything that they sort of patch up, but him and England fans didn't patch it up that quickly.
No, there was, for years and years, there was like effigies burnt of Beckham. There was times when still, like seasons later, he would go to away grounds and they'd still be booing him. And it's just crazy, isn't it? When you compare to like how quickly the country got over like the players who missed the penalties in the Euros, and we hope that kind of stuff carries on, even though there was horrific abuse that they did have immediately following it. It felt there was very few times that fans actually got on their back, but Beckham had to carry that around for years and years. And this really is his moment to kind of put it all to bed.
Yeah, let's talk about Paul Scholes again, one of the standouts of the day. He had been praised in the press afterwards for winning the battle against clubmate Veron in the midfield. Sven's assistant, Tord Grip, also said that Scholes had been a leader on the pitch, and he and Nicky Butt had played a key part in stopping Argentina, which I imagine would have felt a bit sweeter for them when you consider that Paul Scholes was hurled abuse at by 2 Argentine players while he was being interviewed in the build-up to the game.
Yeah, never, at least he had the last laugh, let's just say, didn't he?
He did, he absolutely did. After the defeat, Veron had pleaded with Argentina fans to keep the faith in his side, who suffered their first defeat for 2 years. Take it.
I know.
Plead with your fans like we do all the time.
Please, lads, just give us another chance.
Yeah. And Bielsa came out firing in the media saying his side had been more skillful than England. Yeah, well,
Didn't win.
is that the real quiz? I think not.
No, definitely not. And Veron had said that he'd been subbed off due to the fact that he was kind of injured in the part of the game. And then in the press conference after, Bielsa came out and went, it wasn't for injury reasons, it was for performance. Like, you're just throwing your own player under the bus.
Yeah, but if he's gone out there and lied.
Well, maybe it's just like, I had a tweak and, we didn't really want to put pressure on it in terms of like scrutiny on the team. But he's like, no, you're bad, you're going off.
Yeah. England press on, and Nigeria are up next. England picked the same side who ended the Argentina game and secured a draw. But that draw made them progress.
Yeah, it was good enough, wasn't it? One of the few games where you kind of go, nice boring game to see England through to the next round. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, boring. It was 0-0, wasn't it? Right?
Yeah. I think nothing happened in it pretty much.
It could have gone bad though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, nothing happened in it. Did you not know that it was Rio Ferdinand's 25th cap?
Oh, well, there you go then. At least you've got that info in there. I remember actually, I think Teddy Sheringham had an effort and it was very well saved by the Nigeria keeper. And because I was still just getting into football, I was like, I think that Nigeria keeper's really good.
Yeah.
She made like one good save.
Yeah. Love it. Simpler days, mate. Simpler days. Argentina would fail to beat Sweden, so they're out.
Another one.
Sven's done it.
Yeah.
He's done them twice there. Who's the daddy now? England and Sweden through, is that right?
England, Sweden through, yeah.
Yes, not Nigeria. That's brilliant. That's made me really happy.
20 years ago, just realising that.
So Argentina and France and Portugal are all out at the group stage. It seems like England's for the taking. They draw Denmark, who had been quite impressive, I think, in the next round.
Yeah, and they beat France. They advanced instead of France. They did.
Exactly. So it's a test for England. But they win 3-0. Total walk in the park. And as I always remember, the headline the next day, because of linking to the Carlsberg Danish beer, probably the best team in the world.
Yeah.
Rio Ferdinand scored in that game, didn't he?
He did, and he did his weird celebration. It's in some quarters, the goal's been taken off him because it was like he was headed it towards goal and the keeper just spilled it in as well. But England were 3-0 up at half time in that game and just cruised, and it's just one of the easiest games you'll ever watch, really.
Love it. Then came Brazil, and we all know what happened there.
Unfortunately, yes.
Ronaldinho would lob David Seaman from miles out to send England home.
Leave us heartbroken.
And he meant it.
He'd 100% meant it. We've been there before. Look in the archives.
Amazing. We did a lot of background there. I think it's important to say that this was David Beckham's England moment, and it's just incredible. And this is a special World Cup moment for England, and we hope that just around the corner we have more.
Yeah.
But football and the world was better then.
Yeah, well, the list of Britons, I'll disagree with that slightly.
Yeah, KSI would make it now. Hopefully he's there at the World Cup. But was this England, Nick?
I'd say it wasn't, but I loved it because I think this was the last time England had beat like a top, because top always gets changed when England beat a team who were all right, and then people are like, well, actually, they're not very good at it really. But this is the last time England had beat a top team at an international tournament. I almost want to say since till Germany last year.
Yeah.
Like this is one of the last times you go at a tournament they did it. And then this is still classed as, well, it was a group stage game. It's like, yeah, but they were in a great Argentina team still leading up to the tournament.
A World Cup group game against a massive opponent is huge. I completely agree for all the above reasons, Nick. I want to say yes, but it just isn't England. Up until 2018, this was one of the only really good tournament performances / results I'd ever seen. So it's an emphatic no. It's not England, but these little bits are the hopes that keep us going for 20 years on.
And it pretty much did keep us going until 2018.
Yeah,
it was just like, well, that was good, wasn't it? That one time.
Yeah. There is nothing.
No.
There's nothing else.
I think about the Brazil game more fondly than some of the others, and fucking lost that.
Yeah. So this is probably the last game we do prior to heading into the World Cup, especially on the podcast feed. So brilliant.
Yeah.
Let's just crack on. Let's get this World Cup in the mixer, and we'll make some fucking classic
Now you
games.
get out there.
Because there's thousands of kids who would fucking die to wear that T-shirt. Brilliant. Thank you, listener. Take care.